Bloomberg's Gina Cervetti for 95.5 WSB.
Today could mark the official start for a long-planned mixed-use development in Forsyth County intended to lure NHL hockey back to Atlanta. The Gathering is a massive project that would have a host of amenities, including an 18,000-seat arena for hockey and much more.
We could have various motorsports type events inside of there, whether it be monster trucks or Disney on Ice, all the things that you would expect to see.
Senior project manager Frank Ferrara is part of the planning team behind the multi-billion-dollar project. County commissioners, school board members, and development authority leaders will vote on final approval now that zoning is complete and development and operating agreements are in place. The Major League Baseball draft is hitting Cobb County. MLB.com announcing this year's draft will be held at the Coca-Cola Roxy at the Battery as part of All-Star Week festivities. The two-day draft begins Sunday, July 13th at the Roxy with the first 3 rounds. It will be televised live on ESPN and the Major League Baseball Network. And the draft concludes on Monday in advance of the Home Run Derby that evening inside Truist Park. The All-Star Game itself is also at Truist Park, and it will be played on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. An R&B artist spending decades in prison is calling on President Trump for his release.
R. Kelly's attorneys are asking President Trump to help them get him out of federal custody immediately. They say their client's mail has been stolen in order to pressure witnesses to testify against him, and that authorities hired a white supremacist to kill him.
R. Kelly's serving 30 years in prison for his conviction on various sex crimes. It is 12:04. It is time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams is live in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
And right now, Graham, taking a look at a new crash between Duluth and Norcross. 85 southbound, Beaver Ruin Road, exit 102. It knocks out the second left lane. You're already slowing back toward Highway 316. 400 southbound, it's in recovery mode from some left lane construction. I believe it might have wrapped up 400 southbound in Sandy Springs around Northridge Road, exit number 6. And DeKalb County, 285 east and northbound. The outer loop seeing some brake lights leaving Flat Shoals, trying to ramp onto 20 eastbound due to left lane construction on that collector distributor ramp before Wesley Chapel. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
And now it is time for Atlanta's radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta. Here's WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards.
Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 87, lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, an isolated pop-up shower can't be ruled out, otherwise high 88. Friday, partly cloudy with a few pop-up storms, high 86. Saturday and Sunday, mostly cloudy with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms. Morning lows in the low 70s, daytime highs in the mid-80s.
And right now we have 80 degrees in Beaufort, 79 degrees in Union City, and it is 78 degrees in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 12:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. Delighted to have you. The phone number 877-973-7425. I want to begin with the piece I wrote this morning on my Substack, ewerickson.substack.com. Text data to 33777 to get it. Every once in a while I write something that kind of explodes on the internet. You never really know what it is, but members of the media themselves circulating this, a lot of positive feedback from reporters, even some folks at CNN, even though it was pretty critical of CNN. This great disconnect that we have. That's going on right now. It's an interesting dynamic to see what's happening, see it in real time, and recognize there are some real problems. This disconnect is growing. As you and I both know, the American press corps is broken. We could spend an entire 3 hours talking about it. We don't need to. We'd be bored of our minds. We all kind of know it. But every once in a while, you recognize the problem in new and distinct ways, and how right now there is I'm going to pick on CNN to a degree because I think it's very important. Jake Tapper of CNN and Alex Thompson of Axios have written a best-selling book, Original Sin, on the Democrats' cover-up of Joe Biden. They really don't spend any time on the media's role in it. And look, I understand why. I'm going to be charitable to both guys. I know them, actually do like them. I understand it's hard to throw rocks inside your own house. I understand that. I do it all the time, and that's why nobody likes me. I get it. But I think the larger portion of the American press corps has used the book, including Voices at CNN, as an opportunity to avoid having to grapple with the media's complicity in the Joe Biden cover-up. We've seen the picture. It's a very famous picture now of Joe Biden holding a card. It is of a reporter, and that reporter works for the Los Angeles Times and had pre-submitted a question for Joe Biden despite White House denials that it had happened. And the media has never wanted to confront that. And so now we get to the Los Angeles riots. Brian Stelter had been at CNN. He was fired by CNN. He's now returned in some on-air capacity. He is a fount of left-wing conventional wisdom regurgitated by the media. You know, when Howie Kurtz was at CNN, he would hold the media accountable and point out contradictions. Brian Stelter's job is essentially to serve as Baghdad Bob, and insist that the Americans are not at the gates of Baghdad and everything is well with every media outlet other than Fox. The amount of praise he heaps on MSNBC is kind of gross. He has on social media and CNN reliably insisted over the last several days that everything in Los Angeles is fine. There is nothing wrong. It's not a big deal. Nothing is happening, and you don't have to worry about things. And now we have the mayor of Los Angeles declaring a curfew, saying the part of the city has to be shut down because of the riots.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to let the city know that I have declared a local emergency and issued a curfew for downtown Los Angeles to stop the vandalism, to stop the looting. Many businesses have now been affected by or vandalized. Last night, there were 23 businesses that were looted, and I think that if you drive through downtown LA, the graffiti is everywhere and has caused significant damages to businesses and a number of properties.
Except if you listen on CNN in particular, but also MSNBC, we'll get to MSNBC, everything's peaceful. There's no big deal. Brian Stelter on CNN insists everything is peaceful and it's no big deal. Meanwhile, you have the Los Angeles police chief saying the police are overwhelmed. And that the National Guard, very particular here, the chief of police of Los Angeles says the National Guard did not provoke or exacerbate the riots. And in fact, when the riots turned violent, as he pointed out, they tend to on the second and third night of these things anyway, the National Guard was still nowhere to be seen. But at CNN, everything is fine. Everything is hunky-dory. And they've been coming on, the reporters, the anchors, everybody telling us this isn't isolated. And let's be real clear here. This is very isolated to part of downtown LA, and where the good white people who watch CNN from Los Angeles are, nothing's happening. There are no riots in Malibu. There are no riots in Beverly Hills. Mulholland Drive is just fine. The Palisades are fine. Even Compton is fine. It's downtown Los Angeles and Paramount City. Century City is just fine. It's one isolated area. That's true, except the riots have spilled out into downtown. And in that area, it is bad. And for multiple days on CNN, the reporters have been insisting everything is fine. So now I want to play this clip for you. And by the way, I actually like John Berman. And I know it's not John Berman ditching a clip. It's the editors in the newsroom forcing John Berman to take a break, go to commercial. But it is curious timing after days of everyone at CNN telling us everything is fine in Los Angeles when a spokeswoman for the mayor's office begins to document what's actually happening. That's after days of CNN telling us everything is fine. That's when they decide we don't need to hear any of this. Let's listen to this.
Hurting. I am deeply proud that downtown has always been the place where Angelenos from all over the city gather to peacefully protest. I support the right to demonstrate, and the mayor and I know that right is sacred, and at times it's necessary, but we must also face what's happening right now. When these peaceful rallies end and the protesters head home, another element moves in. Opportunists who come in under the cover of a peaceful protest to ravage and destroy. They are ruining local small businesses, smashing storefronts, and threatening the safety of the very community that...
All right, we were listening to the Los Angeles mayor and the Los Angeles police commissioner.
Wait a second. Is that so? On CNN for multiple days, they've been telling us everything is fine. Brian Stelter has been all over saying there are millions of people in Los Angeles. Nobody knows there's a riot going on because it's so self-contained. So here comes this person with the Los Angeles city government talking about how they're destroying small businesses, they're smashing windows, they're firebombing police vehicles. It's time to take a commercial break. It's time to go to break. Now Brian Stelter's been back on CNN. Listen to this.
And I've noticed, Brianna, we all live on our phones these days. We're all scrolling through social media. You've got to be careful at a delicate moment like this to look at the timestamps, look at the dates, look at when things are actually posted, and if they're really from the situation they're purporting to be. A lot of these algorithms are surfacing hours old or even days old content. So you might be looking at a video of something, wondering what's happening in LA. It's actually from 2 days ago. And that's, it only matters because it can give people a false impression of what's actually happening at a moment of unrest.
Okay. 2 days ago, Brian Stelter on social media and at CNN was telling everyone that it's peaceful in Los Angeles. The riots are on one city block. Nobody knows anything there. If you live there, you wouldn't see it. You wouldn't know it. It doesn't exist. 2 days ago, Brian Stelter was saying that. And now he's saying 2 days, you could have seen something terrible happening from LA 2 days ago, but it's fine today. Wait. 2 days ago, you said it was fine. Today, you're saying the videos you're seeing of the violence were from 2 days ago, when then you said it was fine. Why is the mayor of Los Angeles declaring a curfew if everything is fine and the violence was 2 days ago, but things are fine now, Brian? Please rationalize the timeline in your head for me to make this all make sense. You have the police chief saying the police are outnumbered and the crowds are violent and firebombing cars and throwing concrete blocks at police. You have the mayor saying there needs to be a curfew. You have someone else from the Los Angeles government saying they're destroying small businesses downtown and throwing Molotov cocktails, but you got to go to commercial break so the rest of us can't hear the rest of it. And now you're saying, 2 days ago we were fine, except the violence you saw was from 2 days ago, and today we're fine. It wasn't 2 days ago. This makes no sense. And this is what the entirety, it's not just CNN. I've got the video clips from CNN. I don't want to just pick on CNN, but the New York Times, the Washington Post, CBS, ABC, NBC, PBS, CNBC, MSNBC. The only one is Fox News that's covering it. And all these networks are like, screw Fox News. That's just they're playing to the conservative base. You people are playing to the presuppositions of the left. You can't even use the language that Americans use to talk about the issue because over 50% of Americans use the phrase illegal immigrants, and you struggle to say undocumented. You've moved to migrant, which is the language of the left. It is just notable to me time and time again, the American press corps adopts the language of the left because they are on the left. And you know it and I know it. And you're thinking, there, Erickson, we know this. But here's the problem. So much of the media doesn't actually know it. They're so far into the bubble that they don't even realize they're doing it. They don't even understand why we distrust them. Some of them certainly do at the editorial and production level. Some of them do, but a lot of them, they've got no idea. It's worth calling out. If you text data, seriously, folks, I realize it's shameless self-promotion, but if you text data to 33777, my morning piece, it's called The Disconnect. If you text data to 33777, follow through the link. You'll see the piece, and there's a video. I don't want to play it on, well, you know what, I will play this. I will play this. But I'm going to have to talk over it because you're going to hear the anchors, and this is why you need to see it, because it's a very visual piece, and we're on radio. You're going to have on the left side the talking heads on television. And on the right side, you're going to have the firebomb police cars, the firebomb small businesses, the rock throwers throwing rocks and concrete blocks and cinder blocks at authorities.
The LA County Police say that they have it under control. Carrying a flag is not illegal, as you know.
Now, as she says, carrying a flag is not illegal, as you know, that's Dana Bash. It's a guy standing on top of a wrecked police car with the police car behind him on fire.
Happened in 1992 was so different from what we're seeing now. I mean, that was a real riot.
Now as she's saying this, there's a guy in the helmet. You've probably seen the video as ICE agents are driving past. He's throwing cinder blocks at them, smashing windshields.
Video after video has shown that these agents are the ones provoking protesters and also making up, aggression by these protesters that later.
Making up aggression, they're showing people throwing rocks at police cars.
Video shows people were not aggressive.
We are having an administration that's targeting peaceful protests, people that are there to protest. The president is sending the National Guard because he doesn't like the scenes. He doesn't like the scenes
on fire,
of people peacefully protesting.
The unrest is isolated. LA is home to millions of people, most of whom are having a normal day here on Sunday.
You've heard reports that there are riots on the streets of Los Angeles. That is not what's happening across the city of Los Angeles. Governor Newsom.
Listen, no one disputes this isn't widespread in Los Angeles, but the media disputes that it's happening at all. No one disputes it's a small area. But we've been told that it's mostly peaceful. It's no big deal. You know the fiery but mostly peaceful protests in 2020 after the George Floyd situation? You know the fiery but and that, by the way, that was a CNN line, fiery but mostly peaceful. $2 billion with a B, $2 billion in property damage. And CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS, the New York Times, the Washington Post, USA Today, Los Angeles Times, every major outlet in the country insisted they were mostly peaceful. $2 billion of mostly peaceful destruction. It's happening again. You're absolutely right, Dana Bash. It's not like the 1992 riots after Rodney King. It's not like those riots where the whole city was up in flames, but it's certainly happening. And we've got reporters from major networks roaming during the day during the peaceful protests saying, look, nothing's happening. And they go home in the evening with the peaceful protesters. And here comes the LA mayor saying, no, actually, we got people showing up at night, firebombing businesses, smashing windows, graffitiing things, blowing up police cars, throwing commercial grade fireworks at them, which can kill them. And the reporters aren't there to see it. So they're like, well, during the day, everything was fine. There can't be anything. It must be Trump burning the police cars at night. This is why we can't have nice things and also why their ratings suck.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Erick Erickson Show.
1220, Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Better news in Duluth. Crash cleared off to the right, 85 southbound, Beaver Ruin Road, exit 102. A little slow leaving Highway 316. And you're seeing a few brake lights, 75 northbound through Marietta into Kennesaw from Delk Road up to Chastain Road. Construction off to the right there. And the construction continues in the cab, left lane to the collector distributor ramp on 20 East before Wesley Chapel Road. Traffic brought to you by Extreme Experience. Give Dad the ultimate driving experience in a Ferrari, Lamborghini, or Porsche on a real racetrack. Extreme Experience hits Atlanta Motorsports Park July 10th through 13th. Save 25% for Father's Day. ExtremeExperience.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is Chris Chandler. When you join us Thursday starting at 5 a.m. for Atlanta's Morning News, the overnight developments in the protest story from Metro Atlanta, Washington, and around the country. Our exclusive 5-day forecast has an early look into a, rainy weekend. Scott Slate's Georgia this week. How a Georgia son's keeping his famous father's delicious tradition alive. And Clark Howard, how to keep the peace if your kids move back in with you. All on 95.5 WSB.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor, and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Welcome to Window Wisdom with North Georgia Replacement Windows. We are here with the owners and experts, Ted Kirk and Jonathan Cullum. Jonathan, when I drive around, I've noticed plenty of rotted and foggy windows. Why do so many people put off their window projects?
In our experience, they think it's going to be too expensive, or they've heard the nightmare stories of high-pressure, buy-it-now salespeople.
So, Ted, what is North Georgia Replacement Windows doing to help make this problem easier?
Well, you can start small. We allow homeowners to do as many or as few windows as they'd like at one time. We also offer a 3-year price lock guarantee on our Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows and doors, which gives you 3 full years to complete your project without worrying about the product cost going up.
Any recommendations on how to handle the unscrupulous sales tactics?
You don't deserve that. Just call us instead. We're different. We provide a stress-free experience with quick, accurate proposals without pressure or pricing games. There's plenty of good reasons why other window and door companies don't want you to see us.
You guys really do make window and door shopping simple. Is there anything else you want to add that may help someone wanting to get their window project started?
First, some advice. Do your research. All windows are not the same. Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows are beautiful, not big and bulky like vinyl composite windows. And we have some smart money plans available with 0% interest rates and some low payment plans. You can experience the Infinity from Marvin fiberglass difference in the comfort of your home, or Jonathan and I would love to personally invite you to our new Alpharetta showroom where you could see the differences for yourself.
And right now it's time to jump into June's savings at North Georgia Replacement Windows. You'll get 15% off your project, plus 36 months no interest with equal payments. Details at ngwindows.com.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah! 1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, could be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Go to carsforkids.org today.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Is your old garage door a real clunker? Overhead Door Company of Atlanta is paying cash for your clunkers now. They'll haul away your old garage door and give you instant credit towards the new insulated doors. $200 for the first garage door and $100 for each additional door. Get $200 cash for your old entry door too. It's cashed for clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of Atlanta. Convenient, free in-home estimates. Schedule online at overheaddooratlanta.com or call 404 USA Door.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
Hello there, welcome. It is Eric Erickson. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be happy to have you. I gotta replay a piece of audio that I played yesterday because I've got the I gotta play this again because this just it infuriates me. It infuriates me so much that we're at this point with the American media where they if a conservative had said something on Abby Phillips' show, if Scott Jennings had said something, you know he was going to get corrected by her. Just listen to this. Just listen. And for those of you who are new to the program, you need to know something before going into this clip. Not only did I work at CNN for 3 years and then 5 years at Fox, I was a lawyer. Not only was I a lawyer, I did criminal law. Listen to this clip. This is a Maria Salinas who had been with Univision.
Because they keep talking about illegal aliens. First of all, I don't like to use the word illegal. It is undocumented. Coming into the country without documents is not illegal. It's not a crime.
Yes, it is.
Excuse me. It is a,
There were tourists
can
who
I
got
finish,
arrested in
please?
New York.
It is a misdemeanor. And
It's against the law.
It is
If
a
I steal
misdemeanor.
gum, it's a misdemeanor, but I broke
just
the
a minute.
law.
It is a misdemeanor, just like DUI is a misdemeanor, just like indecent
I've been hit by
exposure
a
is
drunk driver who
misdemeanor.
died.
And-
Don't tell me that's a misdemeanor when he crashed my family over 100 miles an hour.
Because they keep saying.
Okay, you got that? It's not illegal, it's a misdemeanor. Abby Phillips, the anchor, who prides herself on calling out misinformation and disinformation, did not call her out, did not correct her, did not point out a misdemeanor is a crime. Y'all, I was a criminal defense attorney. A misdemeanor is a crime. It's just a crime where you're not going to jail for a long time or getting a big fine. She compared it to a DUI. She compared crossing the border illegally to getting a DUI, which is a crime. And then she says it's not a crime. Ah, these people. Y'all, I got to tell you about Hillsdale College. Speaking of these people, these are great people. Hillsdale College has been educating Americans since 1833. One of their missions is to find you where you are and bring you real education, not indoctrination. They've been doing it since 1833. They were one of the very first institutions in the United States to desegregate. And they want to find people and educate them, not indoctrinate them. And if you have a topic you're interested in, Hillsdale College is making available 40 of their classes. You can take them for free. They're with the finest faculty. Their video lectures you do at your own pace. You go to ericforhillsdale.com. My name is ERICK, ericforhillsdale.com. You put in your email address, you get access to these 40 courses, take the ones you're interested in, you get a certificate of completion from Hillsdale College, you get more knowledgeable, you see why Hillsdale is such a competitive school to get into. Great education, ericforhillsdale.com, ERICK, ericforhillsdale.com. Let Hillsdale make you smarter.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
So if you can't handle your real face, then don't tell me how to handle my life.
He's your co-pilot for the ride home.
They have a lot more money now because they stopped kneeling.
Eric Von Hessler.
Things are going to get broken.
Eric Von Hessler.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
Good afternoon. It's 12:30. I'm Graham Carroll. This news brought to you by Jim Ellis Automotive. Our top local story is all new this afternoon. A multi-million-dollar lawsuit has been filed on behalf of victims of the Sapelo Island Gangway Bridge collapse in South Carolina. The incident happened during a cultural festival last October, sending more than 20 people into the water. 7 elderly victims did not survive.
The biggest thing why we're filing this multi-million-dollar lawsuit is because this tragedy was totally preventable.
Attorney Ben Crump, who represents 4 of the deceased, says the families deserve justice. The lawsuit was filed in Gwinnett County, where Centennial Construction, the gangway's general contractor, is based. Some positive economic news this afternoon. Prices rose less than expected in May, indicating President Trump's tariffs so far have not had a significant impact on inflation. Numbers out from the Bureau of Labor Statistics show the cost of goods and services was up 0.1% over the previous month. That puts the annual rate of inflation at 2.4%. Economists had predicted an increase of 0.2%. Well, a year from today, play will begin in Mexico for the 2026 World Cup. The soccer championship is set to be held in several North American cities, including right here in Atlanta.
So we are officially on the clock and very excited.
Atlanta Sports Council President Dan Corso saying during an update today they have been holding regular meetings with FIFA about their progress, and he says they are right on track. Atlanta will host 8 matches next year, and this year's World Cup Club Tournament is also being played in the U.S. The first of 6 matches in Atlanta will be next Monday. It is 12:31. Live team coverage of traffic and weather is next.
Hey, it's Scott Slade for FGA Roofing. If your home's exterior could use an updated look, or maybe one of your neighbor's designer roofs has caught your eye, and your current roof has started to show its age, then now's the perfect time to check out FGA Roofing for the latest in architectural shingles, timberland shingles, and more. Slate, tile, wood shake, cedar roofs, FGA has them all. FGA Roofing offers 0% financing for 12 months with your good credit. Get the roof you want now and pay over time. Click firstgaroof.com. That's firstgaroof.com.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save big on eggs. Right now, 18-count cartons of large grade A Kroger brand eggs are just $3.49 each with your digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Visit Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches when shopping for that special person in your life. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches offers you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, emeralds, and Rolex watches. If quality and value matter, Lee Brandt is your trustworthy, locally owned jewelry store. Get a free estimate and have your Rolex serviced by their Rolex-trained watchmaker while you wait. Your watch never leaves the store. Located on Roswell Road in Sandy Springs in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center, or visit LeeBrandt.com.
You need a real vacation, one where you can truly disconnect and be present. I'm Richard with Lux and Rome Travel. I take the stress out of planning so you can focus on relaxing, enjoying, and making memories that last a lifetime. From European family adventures to luxury cruises, we design trips tailored just for you. Be present on your dream vacation with Lux and Rome. Book today at luxrome.com. That's LuxeRoam.com. That's luxrome.com.
Water bugs, palmetto bugs, creepy, crunchy crawlies, whatever you call them, they're roaches and you want them gone. Meteorologist Christina Epworth here for Breda Pest Management. Many pest companies have stopped treating the inside of homes to save money, but it's the roaches inside you want gone. Breda's got your back. They'll protect the outside and inside of your home. Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters like roaches.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
It is 12:34, and it's time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
A little slow through the lunch hour into Midtown and downtown Graham. 85 southbound, some brake lights finding before 17th Street, and it stays a little slow. 75-85 south passing North Avenue. Construction continues into Cab. Left lane of the I-20 eastbound collector distributor ramp before Wesley Chapel is blocked. That's causing 285 east to slow from Flat Shoals, and a right lane of I-20 eastbound. The through lanes into Cab blocked in the same area. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Epworth. A mix of sun and clouds today, hot and humid, high 87.
More news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
Listening to the Eric Erickson Show.
Well, I think the ketamine has worn off. Elon Musk is tweeting his apologies for some of the tweets he says he regrets making about Donald Trump. Some, not all, some. I bet the Epstein one is on the list of regrets. Y'all, listen, I don't doubt the man is a genius. I don't. He is a brilliant man, but he's got serious troubles and needs a lot of. He needs Jesus, is what he does. But you can say it's just the liberal media, and it's a lie. But I'm telling you, it's not a lie. He needs to go into rehab. He does, and people around him know he does. But when you're a billionaire, you get away with a lot of stuff. But he needs some help, and he needs some prayer for sure. But he now regrets some of his tweets about Donald Trump. All right, I want to, before we have a grown-up conversation, I want to have a grown-up conversation on immigration. But before I do, I want to go out to Putnam, Oklahoma, to Paul, who's been waiting patiently. Paul, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. Doing well. Thanks for taking my call, Eric. Appreciate it.
Now,
well, my wife and I were part of the 300,000 people that were expatriates from California. Got tired of funding stupid. And growing up in Southern California, it's been a long time coming. There's been rumblings within the Latino community of stolen land and taking it over. It's not uncommon to see them flying Mexican flags from their trucks, blasting their music ridiculously loud in public. And they have this gravitas that they're owed so much as they are promised by Sacramento every day. There's a separate set of laws governing California that they are not obliged to uphold. Yet the taxpaying citizens were obligated and fined if for noncompliance. So there's a whole subset of cultural differences that really laid the groundwork for this kind of escalation.
So Paul, I'm curious. Why Oklahoma? You guys have wound up in Oklahoma from California. Why go to Oklahoma? Nothing wrong with Oklahoma, by the way. You picked a great state. I'm just curious why.
Well, the wife has some family, and it was good enough for me. It's been a conservative state for a long time. I just got tired of losing our freedom and losing more of our salary taxes and being talked down to on a daily basis from Sacramento, because they have their own idea of reality, and they speak very condescendingly to anybody who would challenge any actions. If you have any petition drives that are organically motivated, Sacramento automatically removes a qualifying amount of signatures to go to ballot, because Sacramento knows what's good for the state more than the people know. And it's a commonly known fact that California is expected to really shut up, pay your taxes, and enjoy the fine weather.
Yeah, to compare the two, you got Kevin Stitt in Oklahoma, who is a great guy. I know him. He from Florida, moves to Oklahoma. He sets up shop. He's a small businessman. And one of the things I've appreciated about him over the years is that he doesn't believe that dictates come from the capital and spread out through the state. And when you compare and contrast that with Gavin Newsom, who's kind of a now very long career politician in California, having started in San Francisco and moved on to the governor's mansion, there really does seem to be this dichotomy in California of the state knows what's best for you as opposed to you knowing what's best for the state. It's just, it really is wild.
Yeah, and one of the other commonly known facts of Sacramento is they have really enjoyed, or actually envied, the control that China has over their media and their populace. They really wish that Sacramento could have the same kind of unlimited control, even more so than they already do, because they make laws irrespective of legal challenges, and they trump the people of faith. During COVID, the only essential services that had to stay open were literally strip clubs, liquor stores, and the big box donors for the Democratic Party.
Yeah, and the dispensaries, yeah. Okay, so, Paul, but before you get off, you didn't realize there was going to be a Playing Questions with Eric Day, but, I mean, you moved from California to Oklahoma, and I got to ask, have you experienced a tornado yet?
We've experienced several. The first Saturday we got here, I had to call a realtor in the backyard. We heard the 12 o'clock siren. We're looking in the sky. There's nothing. We don't know what's going on. And, oh, yeah, there's a Saturday drill every Saturday. So
that's just, wow.
Yeah,
I don't know how that would freak me out. We had one come past our house a couple of months ago. It was the very first time. And listen, y'all can all laugh at me. You can all laugh at me. And I laugh at myself about this. But forever, people tell you it sounds like a train coming. And I was in my 40s until I realized they didn't mean chugga chugga choo choo. I'm like, I hear the sound. It's kind of like this rumbling, wobbly sound. And my wife's like, that's a tornado. It's like, it's not going choo choo. I was embarrassed for myself that I didn't realize that, but it's a true story. So, well, God bless you. Look, Thank you for listening. Thank you for moving to a great state. God bless your family. It is, Oklahoma's I don't spend enough time out there, but now, so I'm on, y'all, in Oklahoma City now, and I'm also on in Tulsa, and I got to find more excuses to get out to Oklahoma. It's wonderful people. I got to go see the Pioneer Woman, because my wife and I just adore the Drummonds, and we gotta go up there. I gotta go do a tour of stations and get to Oklahoma. The phone number 877-973-7425. And yeah, I'm not making that up. Listen, you grow up as a kid, what is the sound you learn that a train makes? Choo-choo. I'm in my 40s, and we have a tornado coming back, and you hear this. For those of you who don't know what it sounds like, this is somewhat bad impression, but you kind of hear this, whoa, 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 whoa. And it sounds like a train off in the distance on the tracks. And this thing got louder and louder and louder, and rain started coming through our very secure windows, like sideways. And it was now when it didn't hit our neighborhood, it went over our neighborhood, but it came right over and took out trees, and so it was wild. Don't want to go through that again. I've been in one earthquake in my life, and I was actually on an elevator in Athens, Greece when it hit, and I was in 9th grade. I don't want to do an earthquake again. I don't want to do a tornado. I've done plenty of hurricanes. I can deal with the hurricanes. Now, we must move on. I wish to have a grown-up conversation about immigration. Some of you won't like it. Some of you will. We can all come to terms and be friends. I will tell you one of the areas where I have evolved, and there are very few things where I think I've changed positions. And immigration is one of the issues on which I've changed positions to a degree, and it's actually a very nuanced point. And I want to see if I can make the nuanced point and you guys at least understand my point, even if you disagree with me. I used to be, for lack of a better phrase, hellfire and brimstone when it came to immigration. And I have encountered multiple people in my life as a lawyer who were illegal immigrants. And I had to represent, and I've told this story before, but let me tell you the story again. I had a guy, his name was Alejandro. Alejandro worked in construction in Middle Georgia. He was an illegal immigrant. His wife and his kids were here. His kids were born in the United States. He and his wife were illegal. This is early 2000s. He had saved his money. And he bought a double-wide trailer for he and his wife and new appliances. He paid cash. And it was like, at the time, it was like $45,000. He had saved up $45,000 in cash. And it had new appliances. It was a double-wide trailer. And they got it. And it was single wide. Part of the siding was falling off. None of the appliances were new. They were all very clearly used. And there were cracks on the counters and the cabinetry in the kitchen. And this was his story to me when he came to me. And again, every once in a while as a lawyer, and those of you who are lawyers, you know this, that you have a client come to you and it sounds deeply improbable that this happened. And then it turns out to be true. So Alejandro came to me. I'm a new lawyer. I am out of law school. He's one of my very first cases. One of my very first clients. And he says, here's the situation. I paid cash for this. I need a lawyer to help me. He didn't want a lawyer from the Hispanic community. He wanted what he called a real American lawyer. And he got me. Oh. And he said when he went to complain, the manager of this company, and it's a very well-known, reputable company, and I want to leave them out of it for reasons I'll get into, said he went to the manager who had structured the deal, and the manager looked at him and said, I know you're an illegal alien. Get out of my store, you effing S-word slur for Hispanic people, or I'll have you deported. He saved $45,000, maybe $50,000 in cash. He worked peach crops. He worked peanut crops. He worked cotton fields. He did extra work. He busted his butt. Came here illegally. Got married to an illegal alien. He had 2 kids. And a good portion of his income he was sending home to, I actually think they were from Guatemala. And he was sending the money home. A good portion of his income was going home to his family abroad for his mother and his father and his younger siblings to take care of them. And yet he was providing for his wife and his kids. His wife cleaned houses. An illegal alien saves his money and is cheated by an American who then tells him, you're a effing S-word and I can have you deported. Get out. So I write a letter to this company, and I think it was in Boston. I think the headquarters were in Boston. It might have been Philly, but I think it was Boston at the time. And I write a letter to the general counsel. Y'all, I mean, I'm literally out of law school. I've just gotten my bar license. And I write this letter, and I document it, and a week goes by maybe, and I get a call from this lady in Boston who identifies herself as the general counsel for this company. And she says, we would like to make your client whole, and we will give him what he wanted, and we will give him monetary damages. And I'm like, literally, I'm like, I start chuckling on the phone. I'm like, ma'am, I need to ask you just lawyer-to-lawyer question. And she says, what? I said, I literally am like out of law school. I just got my bar license a couple of months ago. This is my first big case like this. Can you just explain to me what happened? She starts laughing at that moment. And she says, I got your letter. And I'm like, there is no way in the 21st century anything like this happens. And so I called down to the company down there in Middle Georgia, and I got the manager on the phone, and I said, are you familiar with this individual? And the first words out of his mouth were, oh, I remember that effing S word. Those were the first words out of his mouth when the general counsel called. She had him fired that day and settled the case. Y'all, I think we should have a secure border. I have always largely been okay with people who have been in this country for 30, 40 years, who haven't done anything wrong. They haven't broken any laws other than coming here to the country. They've tried to work. They've had families. Their kids are American citizens. I don't want them to be citizens. I've never minded them staying. And I have seen so many of these people abused. He was one of many illegal immigrants, as a lawyer I helped, who had been preyed upon by Americans who took advantage of the fact that they were illegal aliens, and I'm appalled by that. But at the same time, I recall that in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan and the Democrats cut a deal on illegal immigration. They did give broad amnesty to people, and all the people who agreed this would never happen again broke their word. And so while I'm okay with people in the country who've been here 30, 40 years, have never done anything wrong since they've been here, they've raised families here, some of their kids are American citizens, or their kids came over here when they were 1 or 2 years old, I get it. But you need to understand the other side of the story, that a deal was struck in the 1980s that this would never happen again, and the Democrats broke their word. And so I'm very, very sympathetic to the idea that if we were to do my preference again, in 30, 40 years, we would just be dealing with this all over again, and the spiral would perpetuate. And what I have a real hard time with as well is the fact that so many of the people who are advocates for illegal immigrants don't seem to even want to acknowledge the fact that they are breaking the law. They claim that it's like a misdemeanor, and that's not breaking the law when it is. And I would rather err on the side of deportations than humor people who cannot be honest about the situation, and humor people who cannot recognize that laws are being broken. And because those laws are being broken, something's got to happen. And if I got to err on the side of overcorrection, I'll err on the side of overcorrection at this point. And it's unfortunate, but for you people who keep making excuses on it, you should understand it's because of your dishonesty over time dealing with this issue that we're here now. Not on Trump's fault, not on Republicans' fault, on your fault. Now, before I move on, I got to tell you about Swiss America, because these new regulations are coming into effect that are going to affect the value of gold. I don't know if you've seen the price of gold has been skyrocketing. In addition to inflation, it's these Basel III, I think they call them regulations, that are coming into effect, where people have essentially been going to companies and buying certificates claiming they own gold, but it's not backed actually by physical gold in many cases. And the new regulations say these paper gold, they call them, certificates, got to be backed 85% by gold, so still not 100%. Banks are realigning. They're starting to buy up gold reserves because of this, and then the BRICS are starting to buy up gold reserves because they want to get rid of the U.S. dollar as reserve currency. All these things are coming to a head, raising the price of gold. If you're interested in having gold as part of retirement or just buying some, Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals in this country for 40 years, and they'd love to talk to you. Reach out to them. Kind of protect yourself. All you got to do is give them a call at 800-289-2646. Tell them Eric sent you. They're great people to work with, Swiss America. Call them at 800-289-2646. You can just text my name, Eric, to them at 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply. Swiss America can certainly help you.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's gonna say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's gonna say next. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
1252, Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Watching some brake lights on I-75 up into Marietta and Kennesaw. You have construction off to the right, 75 northbound as you pass 575. No lanes blocked, but you are seeing some delays back to North Marietta Parkway. Downtown, it's a little slow. 85 southbound starting to jam in just below Georgia 400. Staying on and off the brakes as you make the drive down to North Avenue. 85 and northbound. The ramp is slowing in Doraville from 285 east trying to get onto 85 north heading toward Norcross. Traffic brought to you by Peach Pass and the new Peach Pass Go mobile app. The Peach Pass Go mobile app helps you get there faster with new and improved features and more coming soon. Download the new Peach Pass Go mobile app today at peachpass.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
When news breaks,
the latest violent immigration protest has erupted in our own backyard.
We've got it covered.
3 police cars were damaged in the process, escalating the situation. 6 people were taken into custody.
Tune in often for the latest.
Quickly turned from a good demonstration to individuals that were there with ill intent.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's breaking news station.
Going back to college, I have sent my father Omaha Steaks for Father's Day because who doesn't love steak? Dads love steak. A recent survey showed 75% of Americans agree there's no better way than to spend Father's Day than grilling with the family. Dads love to grill. I remember some great memories as a kid of my dad grilling. Now I do. And I get him Omaha Steaks, and you can too. Shop omahasteaks.com and give your dad the legendary Heartland quality he deserves. Plus, my listeners get an extra $35 off when you put Eric in, E-R-I-C-K, as your promo code at checkout. Unbelievable quality from Omaha Steaks. I am a longtime gift giver of Omaha Steaks. My dad loves Omaha Steaks. Your dad will too. Go to omahasteaks.com, load up your cart with deliciousness, get $35 off, minimum order required, when you use promo code ERIC at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com. You'll get an extra $35 off with promo code ERIC at checkout. Your dad will love you for it.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, every week on the show, we offer folks something we call the Portfolio X-Ray. I was hoping you could walk us through that process and tell us why the information it uncovers is so powerful.
Yeah, so the reason we love doing the Portfolio X-Ray for you is we do that behind the scenes. Everybody's extremely busy. Nobody wants to waste time in traffic. If you call in, we will ask you for some information via the phone. Once you've given us that information, we go to work and we put all the hours in developing the report. And I commit this to you. The Portfolio X-Ray is eye-opening. At least 90+% of the time, we can find 2 or 3 golden nuggets in there that you were not aware of that we can either change in your current portfolio mix for you. It's called a 401k optimizer. Or if we manage the assets for you, we certainly can recommend how to diversify away from some of the troubling points that are exposed during the Portfolio X-ray. Once we've got that, then we'll have you in for your initial consultation. We will present the Portfolio X-ray to you and walk you through the high points of it. And that's a document that you get to take with you. It's like getting a financial physical. Mm-hmm. So how many of you avoided going to the doctor for the annual physical last year? You do the same thing with your financial life. You ignore it. You keep pumping money into your 401k. You hope that it's going well, and I can tell you that hope is not a good investment or financial planning strategy. You need to know. So if you want to know, call us.
The Portfolio X-Ray is complimentary. Give Hoffman Financial Group a call to schedule yours today. 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
your non-stop news source. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's
Greetings,
News and
welcome
Talk.
to this hour of the program brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. If you're buying a building, you're buying a business, you're buying heavy equipment, you need access to capital, reach out to First Liberty. See if they can help you. FirstLibertyGA.com. Tell them I sent you. FirstLibertyGA.com. They help businesses in all 50 states. Be patient on the phones. Short segment here. Let me re-summarize my point for you. There are a class of people who've been in the country for a very long time, who came here illegally, who they have no plans on going home if they're not deported. And I've always been somewhat sympathetic, but I also have a real problem with the left claiming that this isn't a problem, and it is. And it's in large part a problem because in the 1980s, the Republicans and Democrats came together and said, we're going to grant amnesty and we're never going to do this again. And we've done it again. And it's been the Democrats who have done it, who have flooded this country with people in large part to prop up their apportionment numbers for the census, for the House, and for the Electoral College. They know they're doing it that way. They're perfectly fine with an underclass of people. The Democrats have historically always picked fights over preserving an underclass of people in this country to do their work for them, and they're pretty open about it now with their statements about who's going to pick our crops or take care of our grandmothers. And the fact that they want this underclass of illegal aliens is another reason why we should crack down on illegal immigration and clean the situation up and force the left to come to terms with the fact that you must respect the rule of law in the United States of America, and that includes our borders.
If you are 50 or older, it is recommended that you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can disrupt your life for weeks. If you're an adult 19 to 49 with certain underlying medical conditions like asthma, diabetes, chronic heart disease, or COPD, vaccination is also recommended. Talk to your doctor about vaccination today and learn more at lung.org/protectyourself. Furnished by the American Lung Association in collaboration with Pfizer.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Get the WSB Radio app.
This story is breaking right now.
Get notifications from your source for news.
If you have the WSB Radio app, then you saw the breaking news.
Get the WSB Radio app.
Don't miss a thing with the WSB app.
Download it from the App Store today.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Good afternoon. It's 1 o'clock. This news brought to you by Window Nation. I'm Graham Carroll. Our top local story, Atlanta's housing market is shifting toward more balance as we head toward the second half of the year. Georgia MLS spokesman John Ryan says after all the frenzy during the post-pandemic years, it's becoming more of a buyer's market, and sellers should take note.
Overpricing your house right now, I think you're going to see that it may be sitting on the market a little bit longer than what we have seen as well.
He says 52% of transactions in the first half of the year included seller concessions. The median sales price in Metro Atlanta was $411,000. That is down $4,000 from last year. A whole lot of sunshine this afternoon with highs in the mid to upper 80s, but when will rain return? WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. A multi-million-dollar lawsuit has been filed on behalf of victims of the Sapelo Island Gangway Bridge collapse in South Carolina. The incident happening during a cultural festival last October. 7 elderly victims plunged into the water and did not survive.
It was supposed to be a celebration of black pride, but it became a day of great black loss of humanity and life.
Attorney Ben Crump, who represents 4 of the deceased, says the families deserve justice. The lawsuit filed in Gwinnett County, where Centennial Construction, the gangway's general contractor, is based. ATL Scoop captured that sound from inside a Grady Hospital stairwell last night after officials say a water pipe dislodged at the seam, sending water cascading into the hospital. In a statement to WSB, officials say the flooding was contained and no patients were injured. No hospital operations were interrupted. They are working to make repairs. A new report by the International Labor Organization says child labor numbers are down significantly over the past 5 years, but they're still far from a UN goal set a decade ago to end child labor by this year.
There are individual children working long hours in agriculture with extreme temperatures, sharp tools, exposure to pesticides.
And the group's Benjamin Smith says more and more consumers are seeking information about the products they buy and whether children helped to produce them. And right now it's breaking news. We learned that Brian Wilson, the co-founder and primary songwriter of the Beach Boys, has died. The beloved musical auteur helped pioneer the studio as an instrument and influenced generations of musicians from pop music and beyond. It was revealed early last year that he was living with a neurodegenerative disorder akin to dementia. Brian Wilson was 82 years old. Live team coverage of traffic and weather is next. It is 1:02.
Hey, homeowners, it's Eric Erickson here. Do your windows and doors stick? Are you noticing cracks in the drywall or the brickwork? You might have a big problem. Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, as are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
Attention job seekers, ready to take your career to the next level? Join us at the Yancey Bros Austell campus near Six Flags for an exciting hiring event Saturday, June 14th from 8 a.m. to noon. We are looking for skilled technicians and talented individuals for various roles. We have opportunities for everyone, including fantastic benefits starting on your first day, June 14th from 8 a.m. to noon. Take your first step towards a brighter future with Yancey Bros. Visit yancey-bros.com/hiring event for more details.
Home is where the heart is. It's your happy place, right? But when bugs and critters bust in, not so happy, and it happened to me. Hey, it's Mark Aram from my pals at Breda Pest Management. Boy, did they come to our rescue. When we moved to our new home, we were shocked to see two beady little eyes in the basement. So gross. What do? We called Breda to kick those critters out. They found and secured a bunch of entry points. Next, they trapped and removed the critters, disposed of their nesting, disinfect and deodorized, all like they were never even there. And check this out, guys. Under the Breda Wildlife Guarantee, if critters chew new holes in your home, you stay protected at no additional cost. Only Breda guarantees old and new entry points, while others only cover what they originally sealed. Breda, they handle bugs and critters the best in the biz. BREDA Pest.com.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
This is Chris Chandler. When you join us Thursday starting at 5 a.m. for Atlanta's Morning News, the overnight developments in the protest story from Metro Atlanta, Washington, and around the country. Our exclusive 5-day forecast has an early look into a, rainy weekend. Scott Slade's Georgia this week. How are Georgia's sons keeping his famous father's delicious tradition alive? And Clark Howard, how to keep the peace if your kids move back in with you. All on 95.5 WSB.
It is 1:05. Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Just found some new trouble in Midtown. Crash 7585 northbound up at 10th Street, exit 250. Right now they're holding the HOV lane, so that's why you're seeing the brake lights back toward University Avenue. WSB's own Ashley Frasca says there's brake lights out of Duluth or through Duluth, 85 southbound, leaving Highway 316. No crashes in your way, just the volume as you make the trek down into Norcross. And the west side perimeter, 285 southbound, also seeing some volume from South Cobb Drive down to I-20, the West Freeway. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 87, lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, high 88 with an isolated pop-up storm. Friday, partly cloudy with a few more pop-up showers and storms, high 86.
Right now it is 74 degrees in Midtown at 106. More news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
America, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the fruited plain. I am delighted to have you with me. We have not talked a lot about the one big beautiful bill, and we need to talk about the one big beautiful bill, which is more accurately now named a one big beautiful headache for the Republicans. The phone number 877-973-7425. I actually want to kick off this hour. Rarely do I do this. But given the topic and the call, I'm going to start the beginning of this hour with a phone call to help me kick off this topic. Jay, welcome to the Erick Erickson Show. I want you to know how privileged you are, because rarely do I start a topic with a phone call.
Well, thank you. I hope I won't disappoint.
All righty. So let's. So I know you're calling about this beautiful bill.
Yes, sir. And I wanted to just start out with saying I love you. I love so many of my fellows in America, whether you're conservative or Democrat. However, I take issue, like in the Holy Bible, Paul is like, or somewhere in the Bible, they're like, well, but I have this one issue with you. And so here's my one issue as an imperfect person myself. Number one, I love Trump, but I don't like the conversation around Mr. Elon Musk, whether he's got any kind of like lunacy or mental health problems, or whether he's high on drugs 24/7. I don't care. He was right about the bill. And I respect that you and other hosts have also said, men have stood up and said that with regard to the bill, Mr. Musk was correct that it is not a good thing. It's not a good bill. However, for me personally, I can say this because I don't know Trump. He's not one of my friends, though I did vote for him. And I feel that there is a trepidation that is around going against Trump, and I think that comes 100% from my president. And I think that he does do the bullying, like, for instance, saying you're going to be primaried if you don't agree with me, whatever. But the problem is my president, who's supposed to run for transparency and conservatism, if former Vice President Harris or if former President Biden had put forth this bill, or AOC, if she had been president, or Bernie Sanders had put forth this bill, I think so many people would have no problem saying that this is a big, fat, bloated bill. And they wouldn't have a problem with anybody disagreeing with it. And I think that President Trump would be disagreeing with it right now if he weren't president. And so my issues with the bill, number one, if I'm not mistaken, is 1,038 pages long. Mm-hmm. So I know everybody did not read that. My assumption is most congressmen did not read that, and they didn't have the ability to read it. And number two, if I don't understand, and maybe you can answer this question for me, why is it that if President Trump, I thought that he ran on transparency. I could be wrong, but I think that that's a part of, So I think that it's not transparent when you've got 1,038 pages to say, I don't want to tax tips, I don't want to tax overtime, and I don't want to put extra burden upon people by raising their taxes. I don't understand why and I don't want to put this on him, but I don't understand why our Congress people, period, cannot just put forth one bill at a time that says one bill. I don't want to raise taxes or I want to extend the Trump tax cuts or whatever. And that way somebody who's a Democrat or Republican, whatever, can say, okay, I voted nay because of X, Y, Z. They can't say, oh, I'm for not, increasing taxes right now at this time of burden for Americans. However, I'm not for page 274 that says states won't be able to choose for the next 10 years whether or not they want to regulate AI, because we don't know who's going to be president in the next 10 years. It could, you know what I mean? And that takes away from states' rights. So if you can answer this question for me, why can't they put forth a bill that says one thing at a time?
Okay. All right. First of all, I got to tell you, a lot of my head was screaming amens with what a lot of you were talking about, and I agree with you, and I agree with Elon Musk on the bill. Now, let me agree with you on this and also explain the parameters to you. I'm going to let you listen in now. Jay, thank you very much for the phone call, and you were the perfect call. You did not disappoint kicking this off, and this is the problem. And by the way, this is a very big problem, and I do not mean to be patronizing to anyone, especially Jay or to Elon Musk, who is far smarter than me. There are ways the world works, and there are ways the Congress works. And you and I operate on common sense, and the Congress operates on consensus. I tell people all the time, the reason I'm a conservative is because I believe we are all sinners and I want as few in charge of me as possible. So I want small government. Well, the government we have is full of sinners, and they are sitting in Washington, D.C., and they are trying to figure out how to pass this one big, beautiful bill. And the problem is consensus. You have a 3-seat majority in the Senate and a 3-seat majority in the House. If they don't pass the legislation, we get massive tax increases in January. So the individual members of the House Republican Conference, because there's only a 3-seat majority, each of them has massive power to negotiate things for themselves. And the biggest hurdle has been the SALT issue, state and local tax deduction. Blue state Republicans want a very high deduction. In 2017, when they passed these tax cuts, they got rid of, prior to 2017, you got to deduct 100% of your state and local taxes from your federal income tax. In 2017, they capped it. And the blue state Republicans have said, you're going to have to give us back this deduction. And they had to negotiate a very high cap on the deduction. It's like $50,000 from $10,000 cap to $50,000 for people who make up to $500,000. It's kind of convoluted. And because they're using a process called reconciliation, it's very difficult to get anything done. So, Jay, for your first part, I agree with you that Congress should actually go back to how a bill becomes a law. Individual members of Congress write it. It's put in the hopper. It's referred to a committee. The committees mark it up. They add or subtract from it. It goes to the Rules Committee that sets the parameters of debate. It goes to the floor of the House. It's voted on. It goes to the Senate. It goes through the same process. If it comes out identical, it goes to the president. If not, it goes to conference committee. They reconcile it. They vote on it unchanged. It goes to the president or it dies. I agree with you. The problem is with reconciliation, they're only allowed one bill. So they should be doing this in multiple bills, but if they did it in multiple bills, it would go to the Senate and get every bit of it would get filibustered in individual bills, and it would all die because the Senate Democrats won't support most of it. With Congress, you get one Reconciliation Act, possibly two. The Democrats, I think, set a precedent for two, but there's a caveat there that makes it hard the first year a president is president to do two of them. So they get one bite at the apple. And with this bite at the apple, what they have to do is, one, preserve the tax cuts so taxes don't go up. Two, they have to make changes to baseline funding in the budget. Now, that's complicated. Let me explain the parameters of it. For reconciliation, you have buckets of funding. So you have a defense appropriations bill. You have a judicial appropriations bill. The Justice Department is funded in that. The FBI is funded in that. You have a foreign affairs budget. You have an ag budget. You have an education budget. And then on top of that, you have Social Security funding, Medicare funding, Medicaid funding, and national debt funding. Under the rules of reconciliation, you're not allowed to touch the individual line items in each of those buckets. So in reconciliation, you can't say, you know what, we're going to buy $500 million in fighter jets, not $900 billion in fighter jets. You're not allowed to do that because that's considered an individual line item. All you can do instead is say, instead of spending $2 trillion on defense, we're going to spend $1.8 trillion on defense. And we're going to deduct that from the cost of the fighter jets that we don't want to fund, but we can't adjust that line item in this. We're just going to say, we're reducing the defense budget, and here, Pentagon, this is what we would like you to do, hint, 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 and they're not bound by it. And we're going to restructure Medicare and Medicaid to save some money, but we're not going to adjust individual line items of what doctors get paid and things like that. They're not allowed to. It's a very complicated process. And it has to be one bill. It can't be multiple bills because multiple bills can be impacted by the filibuster. Reconciliation cannot be filibustered. So in other words, the way it works in Washington, D.C. You don't have common sense, you have consensus. You have to get the consensus of the House Republicans so that you can only lose 3 votes to get something to the House of Representatives and get it to the Senate. The Senate is bound by the reconciliation rules and also what's called the Byrd Rule, which means anything that goes into reconciliation has to be deficit neutral or reduce the deficit, and it cannot be new federal policy. It can be adjustments to existing policy. It can't be something new. That makes it even more complex because then the parliamentarian of the United States Senate gets to rule, is this new policy or is this an adjustment to existing policy? And it makes the Senate parliamentarian the most powerful person in the Senate for reconciliation. I actually hope everyone listening is a little bit confused right now. Because you're supposed to be. Because it's a confusing process. And it takes lawyers, it takes parliamentarians, it takes votes, and it takes consensus in the House of Representatives and consensus in the Senate to get it all done. So I agree with Jay and I agree with Elon Musk. It's a terrible bill and it's filled with pork. And at the bottom line is they're not allowed to make adjustments to individual line items in the budget. Part of what Elon Musk says is pork is the defense budget because he wants us to get rid of fighter jets and just use drones. And Congress isn't ready to get rid of fighter jets and make unemployed all of our fighter jet pilots. Part of what is considered pork is the border funding for the border wall, because some members of Congress now say Trump's been so effective securing the border without a border wall, we don't need a border wall. So they're saying that's pork. That's not, by the way, an individual line item, you see. This is where it gets confusing. They're funding the border wall, and you're like, well, Erickson, that's an individual line item. Well, no, technically it's not, because Congress previously appropriated money to fund the border, and so now the border is a bucket. The border's not a line item anymore. The border wall's a bucket, and they can fund and adjust the buckets. They can't fund and adjust the individual line items. So they can't say we're going to buy $100 million worth of steel. They can just say we're going to spend this money on the border wall. It's a new bucket for Congress to fund. They got to fill the bucket with money. If you're confused, you should be. It's a confusing process. It's a convoluted process. But the bottom lines that you shouldn't be confused about are, 1, you can only lose 3 votes in the House of Representatives, so you have to build consensus, and that means some members of Congress can hold the bill hostage for their whims. And 2, it's got to follow the rules of reconciliation to avoid a filibuster. And 3, and this is the biggest one, and the one that those of us who think it's a bad bill can't forget, if this bill does not make it through Congress on January 1st, 2026, every single American's taxes go up. And corporate taxes go up to such a rate that even economists who hate this bill say, if this bill doesn't pass, we're probably getting a recession. Now, Jay, if you're still listening, and I haven't lost you on this, you're right. This process is convoluted. It doesn't have to be. They should break these things apart nonetheless. They should use the committee process. They should allow the Democrats to have input. You should build consensus. Some of the stuff you can't build consensus with, though. The Democrats will not fund the border at all, so you have to use reconciliation to fund the border. And also, we want to avoid massive tax hikes in January. It's a flawed and convoluted process. I can explain it to you, and I understand it, and it still doesn't make a lot of sense. Elon Musk is right, and this bill can be still improved. Members of the House are working with members of the Senate to still improve the bill. But at the end of the day, in the Senate, it takes 50 votes to get it passed, with J.D. Vance being the 51st to break the tie. And in the House, you got to have 218 votes. And you got to negotiate to get those votes. It's an ugly process. We're seeing in real time how the sausage is made. And if this sausage does not get made, every one of us is going to get a tax hike in January.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
120, Cool-Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Just had a crash clear out of the left lanes in Midtown, 7585 northbound up at 10th Street, exit 250. That's got the ride slow back to University Avenue, but it should start to improve. In DeKalb County, still seeing some delays, 285 east and northbound, the outer loop from Flat Shoals, trying to get onto I-20 eastbound. That is as a result of left lane construction on the 20 eastbound collector distributor ramp approaching Wesley Chapel Road, exit 68. Traffic brought to you by Callaway Resort and Gardens. Celebrate summer at Callaway Resort and Gardens with their 2-day July 4th Star Spangled Beach Party. Book your stay for fireworks, live music, and more at CallawayGardens.com. That's CallawayGardens.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
When news breaks,
there are protests going on in Chicago, in New York, and right here in Atlanta.
We've got it covered.
Brookhaven police stressed that the organizers of this demonstration did communicate and cooperate with them.
Tune in often for the latest.
We want people to not be deported, families to not be separated.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
Yo, it's Eric. I know as a homeowner, you start seeing the cracks in the wall or the door start sticking. You wonder what's going on. You could have a foundation problem. Engineered Solutions of Georgia is the only foundation repair company in Georgia with licensed engineers on staff providing the highest quality of work. If you got concerns, reach out to them for a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
Hartsfield-Jackson Airport is making it easier and faster to travel by building more parking spaces on the south side of the domestic terminal. To avoid construction-related traffic, park at ATL West or park ATL Select. They're close and convenient with the latest technology to help your airport parking experience be easy in and easy out. Get more information or make parking reservations at myparkatl.com.
This is Scott Slade, updating my health story. I get a checkup every year, and last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number on my lab work. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options, and I'm more optimistic than ever about a good outcome. Now, when we're talking about our health, level with your providers if you think you have a problem. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often. That's where virtual imaging can be invaluable. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can give you time and options for early treatment, especially for cancer. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is extending their core body scan offer for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response, they've opened up more times in both offices. But appointments will fill up fast for this offer, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your Virtual Imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. That's virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now, while you still have options.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
If you are 50 or older, it is recommended that you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can disrupt your life for weeks. If you're an adult 19 to 49 with certain underlying medical conditions like asthma, diabetes, chronic heart disease, or COPD, vaccination is also recommended. Talk to your doctor about vaccination today and learn more at lung.org/protectyourself. Furnished by the American Lung Association in collaboration with Pfizer.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Taking the complicated and making it simple. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Hello, America. It is Eric Erickson. I've got some sad news to share. For those of you familiar, that would be Let's Go Away for a While from Pet Sounds from the Beach Boys. Brian Wilson has died. Struggled for years very publicly and openly with mental health. Died at 82. The Beach Boys, Brian Wilson, redefined the sounds of American music back in the day. You know, I mean, they were before my time as well, Philip, but they were still awesome. I mean, some of the just the music for the Beach Boys is just, I mean, it's iconic stuff. The surf music, the other music, they had just insanely good music. The Beach Boys, Brian Wilson, passed away today, 82 years old, iconic voice. And, you know, I just got to say, he was one of the people who, a man that famous, who struggled openly with his mental health issues at a time that so many people were reserved about those issues. It became, and it wasn't exactly something he wanted to talk about. It became something he had to talk about, and then he owned it and gave voice to a lot of people who were otherwise voiceless on that matter. So real American legend there, passed away today. Now, look, we're just getting started here. I will take your phone calls, 877-973-7425. There's a huge story about China. The president says we have a deal with the Chinese. Some of the president's closest supporters are furious with the deal that the president has struck with the Chinese, the terms of which are actually pretty nebulous, but what we're hearing is causing some concern in Washington. We will get there as well. First, I got to tell you about Vision Computer. Some of you are concerned, and I know who you are because I go through this myself. You've got a computer. You know you need a new computer. But you don't want to get the new computer because you got your current computer set up exactly the way you like it, and you don't want to have to learn a new computer. That's where Vision Computer comes in. You call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com. As long as everything on your computer is Windows 11 compatible, they can take your computer system, set up a brand new computer for you with modern GPU that's AI compatible, the CPU, RAM, ROM, you name it, get everything you need, and everything's exactly the same as far as you're concerned. It just works faster and better. So you don't have to learn new stuff. Your extensions are the same, the macros are the same, the preferences are the same, the setup's the same. And you get their award-winning 5-star customer service. All you do is you call them at 404-COMPUTER, go to visioncomputers.com. You don't have to take my word for it. Go to Google Vision Computers, see all the thousands of 5-star reviews, and they'll save you money. If you tell them Eric Erickson sent you, you're going to save even more money. Call them at 404-COMPUTER, go to visioncomputers.com. They serve people in all 50 states.
The Scott Antique Markets is back at the Atlanta Expo Center, featuring hundreds of vendors with collectibles and merchandise from all over the world. We're on both sides of I-285 exit 55 on Jonesboro Road. Visit ScottAntiqueMarket.com for more information.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News, weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
Good afternoon. It's 1:30. I'm Graham Carroll. This news brought to you by Ben Hill Renovations. Our top story, Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys has died. Wilson was the architect of the group's signature sound. Deborah Rodriguez has more.
Let's go surfing now, everybody's learning how.
The Beach Boys released their first album in 1962. Within a year, they'd be the hottest band in America. Brian Wilson's talents as a singer, songwriter, and producer, his cheery harmonies and catchy hooks, all led to a succession of hits. When Brian Wilson was being honored at the Kennedy Center in 2008, folk singer Art Garfunkel called him
our Mozart of rock and roll.
Last year, it was revealed that the rock singer had a form of dementia. He was 82 years old. The return of the NHL to the metro Atlanta area could be one step closer to reality today. Forsyth County leaders voting on whether to move ahead with The Gathering, a large-scale development north of Alpharetta that would have lots of dining and entertainment options, along with a state-of-the-art arena that they hope will lure a hockey franchise. New numbers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics show inflation ticked higher in May, but the Consumer Price Index was more stable than expected.
So the big number is the annual rate that came in at 2.4%.
That is a slight acceleration from 2.3% in April, but this was better than expected. Month over month, prices were up by just 0.1%.
Analyst Matt Egan says a drop in gas prices partly offset the early effects of President Trump's wide-ranging tariffs. The 2025 Shopper's Guide to Pesticides in Produce, also known as the Dirty Dozen, has been released by the Environmental Working Group. The list, based on government testing of non-organic produce, highlights fruits and vegetables with the highest levels of pesticide residue. Spinach topping the list, followed closely by strawberries, kale, mustard greens, and collards. Blackberries making their debut on the list, and potatoes returning to the list after being absent in recent years. It is 1:32. Live team coverage of traffic and weather is next.
It's Eric, and one of the questions I get asked all the time is, Erickson, where do I get a computer? I don't want to worry about the setup and all the tech support stuff. Y'all, you go to Vision Computers. Call them at 404-COMPUTE. Listen, when you call Vision, you're not getting stuck in a maze of hold music or menus. They answer the phone 15 seconds on average. That's right, 15 seconds. Real people, real help, real fast, right when you need it. And here's the part I love. You got an older computer, you got programs you rely on. Maybe QuickBooks or a niche software for your small business. You're afraid a new computer means losing it all or spending days doing transfers. Vision Computers got you covered. As long as your software is supported in Windows 11, they can move all your programs from your old computer to the new one efficiently, safely, and fast. It's like handing off all the hassle to someone who's an expert and knows what they're doing. So if you're thinking your old computer is fine but slowing down, maybe time for a new one. Call 404-COMPUTE today. That's 404-COMPUTE. Let Vision Computers take care of everything. You're never going to want to buy a computer another way.
How easy is it to save energy and money in seconds? Power down unused devices, swap out traditional bulbs for LEDs, and adjust your thermostat for the season. Get more tips at georgiapower.com/energy efficiency today. Ready, set, save.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Steel Horse Law knows that your bike is made of steel, but your heart is made of gold. If someone causes you to lay your bike down, you deserve the very best from an experienced firm that knows bikers, because they are bikers. Eric Von Hassler for Steel Horse Law, the Stein and Karen Law Group. They're local, so they understand the changes to Georgia law, and you'll meet directly with your attorney, not just an assistant like the mega firms. Schedule your free accident evaluation at steelhorselaw.com.
It is 1:34. Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams joins us from the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
All about downtown right now, Graham. A new crash, 7585 southbound, right at the beginning of the ramps to I-20, exit 247. Right lane of that ramp is blocked. Now northbound, we've got a stall. Atlanta police on scene with this. It's in the center lane, 7585 northbound, just before Freedom Parkway, keeping you on the brakes back toward University Avenue. And if you're traveling 85 southbound out of Duluth into Norcross and to Dorville, approaching 285, just on and off the brakes with a little bit of volume from Pleasant Hill Road down to I-285 exit 95. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. A mix of sun and clouds today, hot and humid, high 87.
More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
Hello, America. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. Bart, let's take your phone call. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Yeah, hey there, Eric. I got another tack on the question that was just posed by the previous caller. Assuming you have one, maybe two in the first year of a Congress for reconciliation, why not do SALT first? Have a separate up or down bill for SALT, let it live or die on the House floor, and give all the Republican political cover that want to that come from blue states, but at the same time jam all the Democrats. So let the Democrats vote against it. You know, it gives,
Right.
be
Oh, now I
committing a
would
lot
say
of
that the
political
Democrats actually are
suicide.
big proponents of SALT, so they would vote for it. It would probably pass. You'd have
Exactly.
to have Republicans kill it in the Senate with the filibuster. But therein lies the problem, Bart, because it sounds good. It sounds like a good idea to do, except for one fact: the Republicans from the blue states want SALT. They are requiring SALT as leverage for the whole bill. So you can say, let's give them a standalone vote on the SALT deduction on the floor of the House. And it either passes or it fails, and it goes to the Senate, or it passes and it fails. They don't want to vote. They do not want to vote. They want the deduction. The vote is different from the deduction. The vote can be blocked with filibuster in the Senate. If they put SALT in reconciliation, it can't be blocked in the Senate, and they want SALT as a condition of the overall package. This is a negotiation for them to get the SALT deduction, and they don't want to vote on SALT. They don't want the symbolism of the vote. They want the SALT deduction, and they don't care that they're going to scuttle the rest of the plan, because here's the deal. They've run the numbers. Their donors in blue states are going to get a massive tax deduction. If the tax bill fails and our old tax rate comes back, because of the SALT deduction, will come back 100%. They're actually going to benefit. They'll have to deal with the alternative minimum tax. That'll come back too. But overall, they'll still benefit. This is not about the symbol of a vote on SALT and whether or not it can pass or not on its own. This is about they want it. And the only way they get it is through holding the reconciliation package hostage. Now, I got to put a story on your radar. It is actually a pretty big deal. State Armor is a group that I had at my gathering last year in Atlanta. And a lot of people were extremely riveted by the conversation. In fact, I venture to say it was one of the most intriguing and troubling conversations we had on stage. Because Michael Lucci, who is the founder and CEO of State Armor and State Armor Action, is a China hawk and was on stage talking about how China has infiltrated the United States. Let me give you a couple of the stories of how China has infiltrated the United States. Every port in the United States, with the exception of Savannah in Georgia, uses or used offloading cranes by a company in China that largely had a monopoly on these cranes because they were produced so cheap. They were very good and they were very cheap because they were subsidized by the Chinese communists and built with slave labor in China. And so every port in the United States, with the exception of one in Savannah, Georgia, installed these cranes over time, or were in the process of installing these cranes, because these cranes could offload cargo. The cranes had RFID chip readers. So if a cargo container was chipped with RFID, that is a radio frequency ID, they could understand what was in the container and move the container to the right location and log what was in the container to make it easier for customs and inspection, get it on containers. And as a result of the technology, they could clear out ships quicker, putting cargo on the right trucks and trains faster. And it was ingenious. Until we discovered that those RFID readers were relaying all the information to China. Every cargo ship that came into the United States, all the information about the ship, all the information about the cargo, all the information about the destination of the cargo, was all being relayed back to China. Not only that, but the cranes themselves turned out to have surveillance cameras that were undocumented, that were also videotaping and transmitting back to China the port operations. Several years ago, out west, a Chinese camera company connected to the same company offered to upgrade surveillance cameras out west, headed towards Montana. Now, let me make sure I get the, is it US 90? Yeah, US 90 that goes from Wyoming, goes up into Montana. And then there was another one. Is it Interstate 15? Yeah, Interstate 15 that goes up from Salt Lake City through Idaho Falls, goes up into Montana. This company decided to do a favor. They were going to put in cameras that were traffic and weather cameras. And they were going to do it on the cheap. So it is Interstate 15, I believe it is, that runs, in the west. It runs through Utah, Idaho, and Montana. I-15 is a major corridor for our nuclear fleet. The trucks, the military vehicles from Montana go back and forth between bases in Utah and over in Nevada, up into Montana, oftentimes refueling and supplementing the Minuteman missiles and the like. And it turns out that this Chinese company that was putting in for free these traffic and weather cameras was monitoring the situation and relaying back to China what was on the roads. In fact, I will tell you, Michael Lucci was telling the story, and I also spoke to a general about the story, and the general told me when Donald Trump found out about it, Donald Trump told the general, get on a plane, get to Utah, take a saw, start cutting these towers down. That's how bad it was. Put it this way, you know how much Joe Biden and Donald Trump hate each other? When Joe Biden came into office, one of the very first things Joe Biden did was extend a Donald Trump executive order banning purchases from these companies in the United States. And the Biden team, to its credit, went out west, the national security team did, and surveyed the tower sites for the cameras and found that there were still cameras in use that had not been taken down, and they took them all down. The Biden team had a lot of problems, including the surveillance balloon and being weak with that, but they got what was happening. Even Gavin Newsom gets what's happening with the Chinese. The Chinese are at war with the United States. There is a group called Energy Foundation China. Energy Foundation China is structured as a U.S. nonprofit. It is an entity that advocates for environmentally friendly policies in the United States. It has backed climate policy research at Harvard, UCLA, UC Berkeley, University of Maryland. It backs hydrogen hubs, decarbonization plans. It backs academic research in the United States from engineers on climate. Gavin Newsom has touted, even as I say he gets what's going on here, he has touted this organization's work. Energy Foundation China, trying to advance an agenda against global warming in the world. State Armor has a report out today that unbeknownst to Americans, and it is unbeknownst to Americans, and this is a very hostile to China group that has actually commended Democratic governors for their work. It turns out Energy Foundation China is actually a pretty nefarious group whose goal is to advance the Chinese Communist Party and weaken the United States. Let me read you some of this. Although Environmental Foundation of China is structured as a U.S. nonprofit, it's led by individuals with deep CCP ties. Its CEO, Zhao Ji, is a former Chinese climate official. Key staff and board members have served in CCP ministries, think tanks, and China's delegation to the Paris climate talks. The Environmental Foundation of China operates under the CCP's powerful National Development and Reform Commission, which enforces compliance with CCP regulations and cracks down on foreign investments in sectors tied to national security. It has quietly funded climate research at top academic institutions and then sent the research back to China for the Chinese to use. It is coordinating to push green energy projects across key sectors like power, transport, and energy. And its goal is to make the United States dependent on China. The Economic Foundation of China doesn't care about the environment. They care about economic warfare. From solar panels and inverters to EV batteries, their goal is to make the United States dependent on China. Michael Lucci is calling for Congress to investigate. If you go on my Twitter feed, you can see his tweet with this report. Republicans and Democrats alike have worked with the Energy Foundation of China. I said Environmental Foundation, Energy Foundation. Republicans and Democrats alike have worked with it. Based on their research, it appears the Energy Foundation of China is a CCP front group designed to get American universities to do research China's not capable of doing itself, send that research home to develop goals and manufacture builds of projects that are then sold to the United States to undercut U.S. markets to avoid our ability to develop them. This gets to President Trump's China deal. As a friend of mine who is very close to the Trump administration texted earlier, we get rare earth minerals and magnets. They get to keep spying on us at our universities and receiving favorable visa status. Essentially, the Chinese, the American people are still going to pay tariffs. The Chinese still get to come to American universities and spy on us, and we're going to get rare earth minerals. And you know what the Chinese are starting to say? Since you're going to get our rare earth minerals, you don't really need Ukraine's. It looks like China is trying to get us to buy rare earth minerals from them so that we don't fund Ukraine against Russia and China, because Russia and China want to get the rare earth minerals from Ukraine and get a monopoly on them. The Chinese are playing a long game here. They've been hacking our infrastructure. They've been selling us cheap products that spy on us. And we're only really waking up to the problem. We're only really waking up to how big a threat the Chinese are to us. They have been at war with us. Remember, you read The Art of War, Sun Tzu's Art of War. You should never start a war until you've already won. Never start a war until you've already won. The Chinese have the capacity to turn out our lights on us, turn off our water on us, turn off the power grid, turn off the internet, shut down our banks, shut down our ports. The Chinese have been working very hard. We have only a couple of years left before they start to stretch their legs. It's time to wake up and get serious about China. You should also get serious about the bank you use, because the wokes are buying up shares in banks and then using their shareholder clout to steer banks away from conservatives. That's why Old Glory Bank is unique. They actually bypassed Wall Street for Main Street for their investment approach, and it's worked. A lot of small businesses and Americans have invested in Old Glory Bank, and they would love to be your bank. You can get business accounts with them. You can get personal accounts with them. You can get custodial accounts for your kids with them. You can do mortgages with them. You can do CDs with them. They are a fantastic bank. Old Glory Bank. They're my bank. I've banked with them for 2 years now. Even though they're an online bank, they have mastered being able to deposit cash, something that my old online bank still can't do. They've got great bill pay tools, great budgeting tools, great app. They make it very easy to do business with them. OldGloryBank.com, built by conservatives for conservatives. People like Larry Elder and Ben Carson and John Rich came together so that this bank would be a bank where you know they value your freedom over their personal agendas, and so you can get a bank account and never have to worry about being debanked because you're the wrong kind of American. They love conservatives. They are conservatives. OldGloryBank.com/Eric. That's where you got to go. I keep sending people to Old Glory Bank, but they've set up a URL for me. So you need to go to OldGloryBank.com/Eric. In fact, all of you should go set up an account at OldGloryBank.com/Eric. Overwhelm their servers so they know I'm sending them massive amounts of business, because I love them and they love me, and you'll love them too. OldGloryBank.com/Eric. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
150 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Some better news downtown. Crash cleared from the right lane of the 75-85 southbound ramps to I-20. Still slow back to the 85-400 merge, but that will improve. Northbound, they cleared up a stall out of a center lane. 75-85 northbound up at Freedom Parkway. And all lanes blocked and reopened on the west side inner loop. 285 northbound at Paces Ferry Road, exit 18 to get troubled off to the right. Traffic brought to you by Extreme Experience. Give Dad the ultimate driving experience in a Ferrari, Lamborghini, or Porsche on a real racetrack. Extreme Experience hits Atlanta Motor Sports Park July 10th through 13th. Save 25% for Father's Day. ExtremeExperience.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
More local news.
Atlanta's airport's bracing for record-breaking crowds. Apparent murder in the Grant Park area.
More traffic.
A crash in the Cobb Cloverleaf.
One crash on I-20 westbound.
You're on and off the brakes beginning at University.
More weather.
Looking at rotation that is near the city of Brooke, thunderstorm is capable of producing a quick spin-up tornado.
Atlanta's Morning News.
Governor Kemp reacting to that tariff pause.
Tomorrow morning at 5.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB. How Atlanta starts its day.
This is Scott Slade, updating my health story. I get a checkup every year, and last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number on my lab work. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options, and I'm more optimistic than ever about a good outcome. Now, when we're talking about our health, level with your providers if you think you have a problem. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often. That's where virtual imaging can be invaluable. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can give you time and options for early treatment, especially for cancer. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is extending their core body scan offer for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response, they've opened up more times in both offices. But appointments will fill up fast for this offer, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. That's virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now, while you still have options.
Don't miss your chance to take advantage of the Buy 4, Get 4 free sale and pay nothing until 2027. Sale ends soon, only from Window Nation. Schedule your free estimate now at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Don't ignore cracking bricks and concrete or boat walls. You could be ignoring foundation problems. AquaGuard Foundation Solutions knows these signs could lead to a reduction in your home's value. Visit aquaguard.net today to book your free inspection. Remember, AquaGuard.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects, now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to the program. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. I got to play you some audio here. This is Carolyn Leavitt, the White House press secretary, speaking a short time ago at the White House. Some interesting data here.
And I have updates for you on the numbers, by the way. Since June 6th, there have been 330 illegal aliens that have been arrested as part of these riots in Los Angeles. 113 of those illegal aliens had prior criminal convictions. And overall, and this includes arrests of American citizens, there's been 157 people arrested for assault and obstruction-related charges, including the attempted murder of a police officer with a Molotov cocktail. So who is funding these illegal aliens who are coming in with this very professional riot gear? It's a question everyone in this room who cares about truth should be asking. And we encourage your help in trying to get to the bottom of that question.
When we come back, Josh Hawley, he chairs a subcommittee in the U.S. Senate on the Judiciary Committee, and Josh Hawley is announcing he's going to begin the investigation as to who is funding these groups. I have some information related to something I told you about yesterday to share with you on what we're already finding out. These are actually networked individuals, and it's not just in Los Angeles. We're seeing people come from out of state. It's happened repeatedly. Where I am here in Atlanta, we had this thing many of you heard about nationally they called it Cop City. We had out-of-state rioters coming into the city who were engaged in terrorism tactics, shooting at police, firebombing buildings. It's happened in Portland, Oregon. It's happened in Chicago. It's happened in Wisconsin. It's happening in Los Angeles. And the question is, who is funding these? And we know one of the groups involved is called something like the Marxist Liberation Group. And that group is funded by the Chinese Communist Party and its allies. But it's not just them. There are other outside groups as well that are involved. Josh Hawley is going to begin investigating it. I've got to share details with you when we come back. But first, I'm not going to play you the video because some of the language in it, but a Los Angeles school worker in tears has shared his frustration over parents having to leave their children's graduation ceremony at an L.A. school because ICE raided the elementary school graduation. ICE raided an elementary school graduation in Los Angeles in a heavily Hispanic neighborhood, and parents had to flee the graduation ceremony, and he is in tears. 7 million views on TikTok. And it's not true. He made it up. It did not happen. Even the Los Angeles Times is reporting it did not happen. Peter Hamby from Puck News, used to be at CNN, circulating this, saying the video tearfully claiming ICE had raided a Los Angeles elementary school has over 7 million views. Turns out to be totally false. Now, where is Brian Stelter to tell us about the disinformation from the people supporting illegal immigration? Where is CNN on this? I'm not going to hold my breath. When we come back, Josh Hawley, senator from Missouri, going to begin an investigation into the funding of these riot networks around the country. I've got some details for you. It's Eric, and one of the questions I get asked all the time is, Erickson, where do I get a computer? I don't want to worry about the setup and all the tech support stuff. Y'all, you go to Vision Computers. Call them at 404-COMPUTE. Listen, when you call Vision, you're not getting stuck in a maze of hold music or menus. They answer the phone 15 seconds on average. That's right, 15 seconds. Real people, real help, real fast, right when you need it. And here's the part I love. You got an older computer. You got programs you rely on. Maybe QuickBooks or a niche software for your small business. You're afraid a new computer means losing it all or spending days doing transfers. Vision Computers got you covered. As long as your software is supported in Windows 11, they can move all your programs from your old computer to the new one efficiently, safely, and fast. It's like handing off all the hassle to someone who's an expert and knows what they're doing. So if you're thinking your old computer is fine but slowing down, maybe time for a new one. Call 404-COMPUTE today. That's 404-COMPUTE. Let Vision Computers take care of everything. You're never going to want to buy a computer another way.
All the notifications you need.
This story developing in Marietta.
All the local and breaking news alerts you need.
We're following breaking news in Atlanta.
All in one place.
The 95.5 WSB app.
Download it today.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. News, weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hey, good afternoon. It's 2 o'clock, and I'm Veronica Waters. News is brought to you by Brett Beckers. WSB's top local story, a multi-million-dollar lawsuit is now filed on behalf of victims of the Sapelo Island dock collapse. Here's a report. All new at 2 o'clock.
Many family members and others are still dealing with the collapse of that gangway last October. 7 of the 40 or so on the bridge didn't make it. Regina Brinson was there but survived.
And all of a sudden I heard a crack. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening?
Attorney Ben Crump, who represents 4 of the victims, said this was a preventable tragedy.
If people would have put safety over money.
The suit filed in Gwinnett County named Centennial Construction, the general contractor that rebuilt the gangway, as well as the architect and engineers. Tina Douglas, 95.5 WSB.
It is 83 degrees now in Midtown Atlanta. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards says expect a mix of sun and clouds today and humid highs in the upper 80s. Atlanta's most accurate, dependable forecast is ahead. The mayor of Brookhaven says he does not believe any of the protesters arrested for clashing with police after a demonstration on Tuesday night are actually residents of the city. John Park telling WSB they don't appear to be connected to the anti-ICE protest organizers either.
They want to make noise. They want to cause damage. They want to escalate the situation.
Park says whatever happens next, they will be ready. Hockey fans will be eager to learn the outcome of this afternoon's vote by Forsyth County leaders who are expected to give final approval to move forward with a mixed-use development known as The Gathering.
The Gathering is a massive, multi-billion-dollar project that would feature an 18,000-seat arena intended as the home of a possible NHL expansion franchise. Local business leaders have voiced their support.
We need more commercial space. We need more commercial businesses. As a business owner, I've owned Atlanta United tickets. I've owned Braves tickets. I guarantee you we would buy NHL tickets.
Plans also include retail, dining, and residential components. Today's vote marks a final major hurdle to greenlight development of a 100-acre site near McGinnis Ferry Road and 400 between Alpharetta and Cumming. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
Delegates of the Southern Baptist Convention have voted in favor of a ban on same-sex marriage. The 10,000 delegates in Dallas agreed to call for the overturning of several laws and court rulings, including the 2015 Supreme Court decision that legalized it. The convention also passed a resolution pushing for the curtailing of sports betting, which they call predatory. Elon Musk expresses some remorse online today, posting, quote, "I regret some of my posts about President Trump last week. They went too far." Although Musk does not say which ones. Among those posts were tweets ripping Trump's gargantuan budget bill and saying that Trump is involved in the Jeffrey Epstein files, which is why they're not being released. The White House press secretary says Trump saw the apology and appreciates it. Live team coverage of traffic and weather next. It's 2:02.
Your deck is more than just a place to flip a burger or have a cup of coffee. It gathers your friends and family on all your favorite occasions and is there to enjoy every day. Hi, I'm Scott Nelson, owner of Nelson Exteriors, and we build beautiful, high-quality decks at a reasonable price. We're licensed and insured, provide exceptional customer service, design help, and will work with the materials you want. Strength, durability, beauty. Decks done differently. Built by Nelson Exteriors. Get your free estimate. Google Nelson Exteriors.
When markets get rocky, the worst thing you can do is nothing. Hi, I'm David Nicholas, president and founder of Nicholas Wealth Management. Times like these demand action and a plan you can trust. That's why we rely on our trademark Retire Ready Bucket strategy. This strategy is designed to place a percentage of your portfolio into lower risk, income producing income bucket, aiming to generate steady cash flow for the first 10 to 15 years of retirement. Meanwhile, your growth bucket is filled with dividend and growth stocks, which has time to recover when markets are going crazy. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com to schedule a time to sit down with our team to review your plan. This strategy was crafted by experience. It's battle tested, and it's how you aim to keep your retirement on track even when the markets are not. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. At Nicholas Wealth Management, we're prepared. Are you? Don't wait for the next headline to shake your confidence. Call Nicholas Wealth today, 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. Nicholas Wealth Management. Retire ready.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Neither the information nor any opinion expressed is to be construed as solicitation to buy or sell a security or personalized investment, tax, or legal advice.
It is 2:05. That means live team coverage of traffic and weather is starting right now. Alex Williams checking that commute in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Hey, good afternoon, Veronica. A new stall on the southeast leg of the perimeter, 285 eastbound, the outer loop, Flat Shoals, exit 48. Sticking out in that left lane on the very narrow left shoulder, so just use caution as you head eastbound leaving Boulder Crest Road. Also a crash on Flat Shoals Parkway southbound, just south of 285, just below Clifton Springs Road. Some delays there. And downtown, on and off the brakes, starting 85 southbound approaching 17th Street as you make the commute on the connector southbound down to North Avenue. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 87, lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, high 88 with an isolated pop-up storm. Friday, partly cloudy with a few more pop-up showers and storms, high 86.
It's 85 degrees already in Ackworth. It's 84 in Riverdale and 83 right now in Midtown Atlanta at 2:06. More news coming up at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
Greetings, America. It's Eric Erickson here, and I am delighted to have you with me. The phone number, 877-973-7425. We've got to go down a rabbit hole now of speculation, theorizing, some conspiracy and conjecture perhaps, but based on real-world things that are happening. Josh Hawley is the chairman of one of the Senate Judiciary Committee subcommittees, and he has decided to begin an investigation in the funders of the rioters. It's the Subcommittee on Crime and Terrorism. And he has written a letter to Angelica Salas, the executive director of the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. I write in my capacity as chair of the Senate Subcommittee on Crime and Counterterrorism regarding your organization's alleged role in financing and materially supporting the coordinated protests and riots that have engulfed Los Angeles in recent weeks. While peaceful protest is a cornerstone of American democracy, these demonstrations have escalated into lawless mob actions. They have obstructed federal law enforcement, endangered public safety, and disrupted the rule of law. The lawlessness is unacceptable. It must end. Credible reporting now suggests that your organization has provided logistical support and financial resources to individuals engaged in these disruptive actions. Let me be clear, bankrolling civil unrest is not protected speech. It is aiding and abetting criminal conduct. Accordingly, you must immediately cease and desist any further involvement in the organizing, funding, or promotion of these unlawful activities. Furthermore, please preserve the following records from November 5th, 2024 to present: internal communications, financial documents related to protest demonstrations, mobilization efforts, third-party contracts or vendor agreements, grant applications, travel lodging records for individuals, media public relations strategies, donor lists. Failure to comply will result in additional action by the subcommittee, including potential referral for criminal investigation. Sincerely yours, Josh Hawley, Chairman, U.S. Senate. If you fund protesters, perfectly legal, not a problem. Protesting is an American right. People call my radio stations all the time and protest me being on the air. Perfectly within your rights. When you pick up the rock and throw the rock, that's where protest ends and riot begins. The left has been telling themselves in their echo chamber for some time that it's not violence if there's insurance. You burn the police vehicle, it's just a car, it's not a person, so it's not violence. You firebomb the small business, it's not violence because the insurance company will make them whole. That's what the left has been telling themselves. Nicole Hannah-Jones, formerly of the New York Times, advanced that idea that if there's insurance, it's not violence. And the left has mobilized to be violent, telling themselves it's not violence. Very Orwellian. Where death becomes life and life becomes death. When you murder someone, you're bringing them to life. Very Orwellian. Very twisted. And there are clearly people organizing the rioters. There was a video the other day. I put it in Twitter. You can go back in my timeline and see it. It was a retweet that showed a truck. And the truck had an organized pallet of cinder blocks and was dropping them off in the area of the riot in Los Angeles. someone paid for the cinder blocks. Someone probably paid the driver to drop them off. Who? Here's what I know going back to 2020 and the Portland riots. Remember in Portland, it was to attempt essentially to burn down the federal judicial complex in Portland, Oregon. And Antifa activists surrounded the area. That we've seen these things happen in Atlanta as well, in Chicago, Wisconsin, Washington, D.C., and New York. A buddy of mine who was involved in counterintelligence painted a picture for me of this, and this gets to something I talked about yesterday with the cell phones. You get, it's very much what they did on January 6th. You get the cell phones. The New York Times did a story several years ago when Trump was president the first time on how cell phone companies sell their data. And you could actually figure out who the Secret Service agents were in Palm Beach when President Trump was there and track President Trump's travel because of the cell phones pinging towers. You could see, for example, the individuals with their cell phones in the pockets. They were little blips on a map. And you could see them traveling from Mar-a-Lago and Palm Beach down to Trump's golf course. You could see them go back. You could see some of them separate and go away and others stay in the area. And you could tell these are people who are near the president. You could see people who their cell phones pinged on the property. They would go away at night. They would come back the next day, and they were always in this chain. You could presume one of those blips has got to be the president. Those blips have got to be Secret Service agents. We now know where they stay at night. That's how detailed it is. They were doing the same thing in Portland. And in Portland, what they found, according to the people who know, who I'm familiar with, a couple of whom are listening right now, they could see the rioters going to the riots. And they could see other people coming into the riots from other parts of Portland. And oftentimes some of the rioters would go meet those people. And you could coordinate them to when the pallets and the goods were dropped out. So there were clearly people bringing supplies in from around Portland, coordinating with the rioters who were there so they know we got the cinder blocks coming, we've got the baseball bats coming, we've got the Molotov cocktails coming. And when you profiled those individuals did not have the money to buy pallets of cinder blocks. Where were they getting the money from? Now you want to know the punchline? When Joe Biden became president, the Department of Justice abandoned the investigation. Sure did. Now, let's talk about yesterday. I had a call yesterday, and I was explaining, I was talking to a buddy of mine about the current situation. And a buddy of mine who's involved in this said, one of the things that these rioters think is that if they turn off their cell phones when they're in the riot area, they can't be tracked. And that's true. They can't be tracked in the riot area, but we can track the people who are headed to the riot area and turn off their cell phones. And when they turn back on the grid and they're headed in the opposite direction, we know the odds are they've been there. And we can track those people. We know that some of the money that are funding these protests around the country are coming from the anti-Semitic groups. But we also have a growing sense that some of the groups that are funding it are these Marxist groups that, in particular, are funded by the Chinese Communist Party. We also know the Mexican government funds internally inside the United States an organization that can be summoned to protests. The Mexican government does it. Probably the cartels are involved. My guess is that the Mexican government or the cartels are involved. My guess is that there are foreign agents involved. And my guess is that if Josh Hawley digs enough, he's going to find that. And my guess is that some of the individuals who were doing the cell phone tracking in 2020, they're still on the job and they remember, and they busted their butts to tie everything together before the Biden administration killed the investigation. And you know they're going to be chomping at the bit to figure this out. Now, let's be clear. It is a small riot. It's not widespread. It's not all over Los Angeles. Los Angeles is not burning. There are a couple of square blocks. A couple blocks in Los Angeles are impacted. Let's not make it bigger than it is, but let's also not do what the media is doing and make it smaller than it is. It is a riot in an area near a federal building in Los Angeles, so much so they've had to have a curfew. But if you are 6 or 7 blocks away from it, you don't know what's going on unless you smell the tear gas. If you're 10 blocks away from it, the tear gas is going to largely have faded by the time it gets to you. It's just going to smell like a stinky city of L.A. that it is. You're going to think you're smelling smog. You're not going to encounter it. You probably won't even from 10 blocks away hear it. But it's happening. And we've seen the videos of people dropping pallets of cinder blocks. We've seen people show up, and this is the thing. So let's take this to the Cop City protests in Atlanta, because for those of you who have a vague idea of this, there was a massive center being built. It's now built outside of Atlanta, Georgia. It was a combined training center for police and fire and EMS. And after the George Floyd riots nationally, Antifa seized on this project with a level of outrage and decided they were going to stop it. And they began to camp out in the woods where this place was going to be built. They booby-trapped the area. They put bombs in the area. They shot at police officers. One of the activists got killed. They firebombed a fire station. They targeted the employees of the construction company. I have a friend whose church was invaded by protesters because one of the supervisor for the project went to church, and on Sunday, the Antifa protesters decided to disrupt his church and harass the worshipers. A youth facility in the city of Atlanta was firebombed by these people because the construction company was involved with it. The company has a headquarters out of the state of Georgia. That headquarters was firebombed. Didn't make a lot of national news, but it was happening. And they treated it as domestic terrorism with very little help from the Biden administration, I might add. The Attorney General in Georgia and others cracked down on it. And something like 9 out of 10 of the people arrested were not even from the state of Georgia. Most of them were from the north. A number of them were trust funder kids whose parents subsidized them. There are nefarious people involved in this who want the chaos. Now, the irony here is this. Many of these people, they actually want the chaos because they think it hurts Donald Trump. And they think the more chaos, people will get tired of it and they'll blame Donald Trump. And they're working with the media to say, this is Donald Trump's fault. If Donald Trump weren't here, this wouldn't be happening. But it's also interesting to me, the data. You know who gives Donald Trump the highest support levels right now in the country? Hispanic voters. Hispanic voters. Massively high, over 50%. White voters, black voters, they're getting a little cool on Donald Trump. Quinnipiac has a poll that came out. Now, they always lean Democrat to begin with, but it's a pretty brutal poll for Donald Trump. But even in Quinnipiac, Hispanic voters, they love Donald Trump right now. You know why they do? It's something that the progressive white elite miss. When you've come into this country legally, you've taken the time to put in the effort to get it done legally, and then you have a bunch of people come across the border, and they're going to be taking your jobs first for cheap because they're illegal aliens. They're willing to work for money under the table. You get furious. You fled those countries because they were third world hellholes filled with gang violence. You came to this country, and now those gang members are crossing the border illegally and also taking jobs in your community that were otherwise your jobs and bringing their crime and drugs with them. Those people are becoming very pro-Trump. And the polling universally shows it. And the good white Democrats are missing that. This opens a lot of doors for Josh Hawley to begin his investigations and see what exactly is going on, who is really funding this, and I suspect we're going to find some foreign communists involved.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
220 Cool Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center just cleared up 2 separate stalls in DeKalb, 285 eastbound, the outer loop between Boulder Crest Road and Flat Shoals, so the ride is starting to improve, leaving 675. If you're traveling 85 north out of Dorville toward Norcross, a little bit of volume from 285 up to Jimmy Carter Boulevard, and 75 southbound remains sluggish between Marietta and Kennesaw from North Marietta Parkway for the ride up to Chastain Road. Traffic brought to you by Purple Mattress. Purple mattresses and pillows are up to 75% off for a limited time. Stop by their showroom at the outlet shops of Atlanta this weekend for amazing deals. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
When news breaks, protesters again outside of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention's front gate. We've got it covered.
Federal agents seizing enough fentanyl to kill 48 million Americans during raids on 3 properties.
Tune in often for the latest.
Arrests at a large immigration protest in Brookhaven.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
Joel, it's Eric. I know some of you are concerned about tariff prices impacting things in your lives, including kitchen remodels. Well, listen to this. You can book an appointment this month with Frugal Kitchens and get the Frugal Price Lock. They will lock you into pre-tariff prices. All you got to do is Google Frugal Kitchens for details, and they're offering 0% financing. You want your kitchen remodeled, you want to add value to your home, you're worried about tariffs, here's your opportunity. Google Frugal Kitchens. Start that kitchen redesign today.
Hi, it's Wes Moss. May's mayhem is behind us, and June is in full bloom. Spring brings milestones like graduations, weddings, and even new homes. It's also a time when you might be thinking about retirement. If that's you, visit our team at Capital Investment Advisors. We'll work with you to craft an income-focused portfolio designed to deliver a reliable paycheck in retirement. Get started at yourwealth.com. That's YOUR wealth.com.
An investment in your home is something that will pay off in the future, but it's something that you can enjoy right now. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. A beautiful new garage door, entry doors, and windows are an investment you can love every day, and they will increase your home's value, energy efficiency, and curb appeal. All Four Seasons, trusted in Atlanta for over 25 years, exceptional customer service, and high-quality work. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 SeasonsGarages.com.
I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell, and for over a decade, I've trusted America's best choice for windows, doors, siding, and decks.
Spring is the perfect time to update your home, and America's Best Choice makes it easy with these spring specials. Highest quality, energy-efficient windows starting at just $299. Take 10% off a new deck and create the outdoor oasis of your dreams. No pressure, no gimmicks. Visit abcwin.com today to schedule your free consultation.
When it rains, it pours right into your crawl space, and that creates that musty smell and dangerous mold growth under your house. Meteorologist Christina Upwards here for American Crawl Space Solutions. Make the smell and the water go away and stop the water from coming back. Call American Crawl Space Solutions. They're experts at keeping your crawl space dry and preventing the mold from growing in your home. Give them a call today.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
My old mentor had a saying, if you want to know how rich you are, add up everything you have that money can't buy and death can't take away. Even if you've been chasing a version of wealth that doesn't last, you can still redirect. First, make sure your own relationship with God is what it needs to be. And then help others get right with Him too. Only 2 things with us today last forever: the Word of God and the souls of people. This is Tom Gray, and This Stuff Matters.
ThisStuffMatters.net. Hey y'all, Belinda Skelton for Four Seasons Home Care, and I'm not going to cry in this commercial, I hope. As many of you know, I lost both my parents recently, but I am so thankful they were able to finish their lives at home where they wanted to be. It's all because of the incredible caregivers who came to see them every day. I am so grateful to Four Seasons Home Care. This is a real family-owned company that vets and hires every single one of their caregiving specialists. They don't have contractors. They're not some national corporation. They are simply the best here in Georgia. And a lot of you have asked me about my journey and if home care is right for your aging parents. I'll tell you what I tell them. Call Four Seasons Home Care and just start the conversation. It's a 100% free call that can change everything. Google Four Seasons Home Care Atlanta. That's Four Seasons Home Care Atlanta.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
He may not tell you what you want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's some breaking news I need to bring to you. It is somewhat delicate, so I will be careful in how I say it to avoid hysteria. The U.S. Embassy in Iraq is preparing for evacuation. Orders have come from the State Department to begin to a drawdown of non-essential employees and most essential employees from the embassy in Iraq. Additionally, the U.S. government, State Department, is now encouraging non-military personnel in Bahrain and Kuwait to begin to leave those countries. Bahrain and American citizens in Bahrain and Kuwait are being encouraged by the government to leave, and the U.S. Embassy in Iraq is being told to begin a drawdown of personnel. I can only speculate that probably, considering the collapse of talks with Iran, we may be about to attempt to end their nuclear capabilities. This comes after a nuclear test, underground nuclear test, the other day from Iran, as they look like they're closer and closer to getting an atomic weapon. This is happening right now. There are very, very limited details as to what we actually know, but we do know that the U.S. State Department is beginning a drawdown of personnel at the U.S. Embassy in Iraq, specifically calling it an evacuation. This comes after Iran's Minister of Defense said that Tehran is going to strike bases in the region if nuclear talks with Washington break down. The nuclear talks with Washington are breaking down, and now individuals, American citizens in Kuwait and Bahrain, are being advised that they may wish to leave the area. There is even bigger breaking news happening now. The Pope has been seen in a White Sox cap for the first time. You know, I'm Presbyterian, and I think God is rooting for the Cubbies. I'm just going to say that. But having his divine representative in a White Sox, it upsets me. It's just, this is, talk about an unfair advantage for the White Sox. Gosh almighty. Folks, I got to tell you about Americans for Prosperity. They are attempting to help the president get his common sense tax proposals passed in Washington, and they would love for you to get engaged with your U.S. senators. You can go to protectprosperity.com today and sign up to help Americans for Prosperity advance common sense conservative solutions. From school choice to reforms and deregulation for small businesses, Americans for Prosperity gets Americans involved in the process. And right now, if you go to Protect Prosperity, they'll make it very easy for you to contact your senators, whether you're for or against the plan, although they hope to get something passed that continues the president's tax cuts. They'd love to get you involved in the process. They'd love to get your voice heard. And don't be dissuaded because you got two Democratic senators. They keep track. They want to know where their constituents stand, and it can shape their opinions. Go to protectprosperity.com today. It's brought to you by Americans for Prosperity, the largest leading grassroots group in the country. They happen to be on our side. Protectprosperity.com is the website, brought to you by Americans for Prosperity.
Starting a business takes grit and fortitude, but to keep it going requires taking care of customers like family. That's our motto, and my family's been sticking to it for decades. Hi, this is Daniel Jape, and you can count on Jape Services to provide quality care and price transparency for your home's heating, cooling, and plumbing needs. At Jape Services, we're a family-run business, and I personally guarantee to treat you like family as well. JapeServices.com.
Jape Services.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
2:30, I'm Veronica Waters. News this half hour is brought to you by FGA Roofing. WSB's top local story, a multi-million-dollar lawsuit now filed on behalf of victims of the Sapelo Island Gangway Bridge collapse in South Carolina. That incident, you may recall, happened during a cultural festival last October. More than 20 people fell into the water. 7 elderly victims did not survive.
The biggest thing while we're filing this multi-million-dollar lawsuit is because this tragedy was totally preventable.
Attorney Ben Crump, representing 4 of the deceased, says the families deserve justice. The lawsuit was filed in Gwinnett County, where Centennial Construction, the gangway's general contractor, is based. The Hamas-run Ministry of Health says at least 30 people have died in another shooting at an aid distribution site in Gaza. Israeli forces say they were trying to fire off warning shots. U.S. inflation picked up a bit last month as higher prices for groceries and some imported goods were largely offset by cheaper gas, travel services, and rents. The Labor Department says consumer prices increased 2.4% in May, with upticks not just on groceries, but on toys and games and large appliances, which could reflect the impact of tariffs. Harvey Weinstein is being found guilty on some counts in his sex crimes retrial in New York City.
The former Hollywood producer was found guilty of engaging in a criminal sex act with one woman while being acquitted on another count involving a different woman. A verdict was not reached on whether Weinstein raped a third woman. The judge ordered the jury to continue to deliberate that charge when they reconvened for a 6th day of deliberations. Weinstein was found guilty in 2020, but the verdict was thrown out because the judge did not handle the witness testimony properly. Jonathan O'Halloran, NBC News Radio, New York.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather next. It's 2:32.
Belinda Skelton here with Atlanta Vision Institute's very own Dr. Ashraf, who is one of the most experienced eye surgeons in the country. Dr. Ashraf, we've all watched the news and the economy is uncertain, but failing eyesight isn't. And if you've held back due to finances, we've got good news for you, don't we?
Yes, Belinda, as you know, our eyesights degrade as we age. And with the laser optics procedure, that resets all of that. And most of my patients go most of the day without glasses. They can even read their phone without glasses. And in terms of the economy, most of these patients, their medical insurance can cover most of the costs. And if it doesn't, we have a lot of good financing options for this procedure.
That's awesome, Dr. Ashraf. I urge you to take the quiz to see if you're a candidate. Go to 2020atlanta.com. That's 2020atlanta.com.
Multiple contractors and estimates for your home projects? What a hassle. Instead, trust the Plus. Painting Plus.
Hi, I'm Charlie, owner of Painting Plus and the Plus family of businesses. We're reliable, fully licensed and insured. No muss, no fuss. Trust the Plus and leave everything on your list to us.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
The most consistent thing about summer in Georgia is the scorching heat. And the last thing you want is your AC unit not keeping you cool. Don't sweat it. Call the name you can trust, Jape Services. Hi, this is Daniel Jape, and you can count on us to go above and beyond when repairing or replacing your AC unit. Call 24/7 and speak to a representative to book your appointment or book online at japeservices.com.
To trust, you can count on us. Jape Services.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson. You wouldn't trust Mac with a jack to fix your home's sinking foundation problem, would you? I certainly wouldn't. Serious issues need serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, so are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG.
Sochi now.
2:34, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams is live in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
It has not been fun downtown today, Veronica, and another crash. Travel advisory, 7585 northbound Freedom Parkway, exit 248. Atlanta Fire Rescue on the scene. They're in up to 3 left lanes. You're stacked up from Highway 166. Take Metropolitan Parkway or Highway 29 up to Northside Drive as an alternate. Southbound delays started the 85-400 merge for the drive down to Cortlandt Street in downtown. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. A mix of sun and clouds today, hot and humid, high 87, lows tonight in the mid-60s.
84 degrees now in Tucker, 83 in Hampton, and 85 in Midtown Atlanta at 2:35. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
Likewise, Americans in Kuwait and Bahrain, particularly those of civilians tied there to the military population, are told they may need to withdraw from the country. This is coming as it appears we are the collapse of talks with Iran. The Iranians made very clear they were not going to give up their nuclear production and refinement, contrary to what the president had insisted must happen. And now it does appear that things are going to escalate there. These are uncertain times. Now, you need to understand, the Associated Press is the source for this, just so you know. You got to understand part of the dynamics here. Inside the White House, there is a divide between, are we leading the world or should we retreat from the world? I don't understand Tucker Carlson these days, and I know a lot of people listen to him, but Carlson is very supportive of Russia, very critical of Ukraine. Many of the things he said about Ukraine simply aren't true. He went to Russia, did that crazy thing where he was promoting their grocery stores and how you can return carts and the bread and all. Did the interview with Vladimir. It's very odd. And there's lots of reports that he has been in regular communication with the president about cutting a deal with Iran. And he's been pretty critical. He's had on Daryl What's-His-Name, who essentially has come out now and admitted he's a Nazi. For those of you who aren't aware, this happened earlier. You know, what's his name? He goes by Martyr Maid or whatever. And a guy named Corey Mahler says the American right is, by any reasonable metric, now openly National Socialist. And he replies, I'm not a monster, I'm just ahead of the curve. It's a gif of the Joker from the Dark Knight movie. He's very clearly been flirting with Nazi sensibilities. This is a guy who went on Tucker Carlson's show and said that Winston Churchill was the bad guy in World War II and Adolf Hitler was actually the good guy. And he's developed this following of people. He's an amateur historian. And he says, I'm not really a historian. I'm just asking. They're always just asking questions. Tucker Carlson is just asking questions, except when he's just asking questions, they always seem to be like, why do the Jews eat the blood of babies? I'm just asking questions. Why do the Jews ground up Palestinians and use their bones for the matzah? I'm just asking questions. Why is it that Volodymyr Zelensky is a corrupt autocrat who's taken money under the table from the Biden regime to fund a war that he started against the Russians? I'm just asking questions. Why does Tucker Carlson now reliably take the side of enemies of the United States and platform National Socialists and white supremacists? I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions, too. But there are those voices in Trump world that are deeply divided on this issue. And J.D. Vance, he's an Appalachian Rust Belt isolationist. He also went to Iraq as part of the war on terror. He got disillusioned with our foreign policy, and he doesn't think we can be or should be the policeman of the world. And I don't think we should be the policeman of the world. I think we should lead the world. I think we are supposed to lead the world. We are 81 years removed from D-Day, and we're getting tired and we're getting soft and we're internally focused and divided against each other. Americans hate Americans these days. There's a lot of the world that hates us, and they're not going to like us if we withdraw from the world. They're going to seize the opportunity. And given the Marco Rubio now ordering the evacuation of personnel from the embassy in Iraq and U.S. personnel in the Middle East, it is something is happening. The president has been pressured to strike a deal with Iran, but the president has maintained he's not going to allow them to get a nuclear weapon. And here's the thing you have to understand. We in the West treat everyone as a rational actor, but we treat other people as rational actors based on standards of Western culture. It is not rational to want to bring about the end of the world, is it? It's not rational to bring about the end of the world. In Western thought, it's not rational to bring about the end of the world. But what about Islamic thought? Is it rational to bring about the world? I mean, that's why so many people criticize Christians and Christian support of Israel is they say, well, these Christians, they're trying to bring about the apocalypse. They want the return of Jesus. And these theocrats, we got to think about them the way the theocrats think. You should think about Iran the way the theocrats think, because the Iranian regime is a theocratic regime. They nominally have a president and they have a government, but the absolute dictator of Iran is the theocratic leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei. He's absolute in his decrees. It is a police state that is premised on a theocratic regime, that is a branch of Islam, that in this particular branch of Islam believes one of its missions is to bring about the return of the Mahdi, to begin the apocalypse, to establish a heaven on earth. And how do you do it? How do you bring about the apocalypse? You wipe out Israel with a nuclear weapon. You bring about the end times with a nuclear weapon. It's rational. See, we hold it to the Western rational standard. It's not rational to launch a nuke. No. But if you believe that it is rational to bring about the end times, because what comes after the end times? Paradise. Paradise comes. If you believe that paradise comes, if you can bring the Mahdi back and paradise thereafter comes, it's a rational thing to decide you got to wipe out Israel with a nuclear weapon. It's entirely rational. If that's your frame of mind. From a Western perspective, it's not. But we're not talking about people with a Western perspective. And the Western ideals, the guys who look at things from a Western perspective are like, they're never going to do this. Would be insane. It would be insane for them to do this. No one wants to believe it because it's not real. And that's ultimately Western secular presuppositional thought is there's nothing after this. So who would want to wipe this out? Because there is no such thing as God or heaven or hell or paradise. But if you're an Iranian theocrat, you believe paradise comes. So it's very rational to acquire a nuclear weapon to be able to do maximum damage, to wipe out the Jews, to make it safe for the Mahdi to return. UK maritime trade has just issued a rare warning about rising tensions in the Persian Gulf, Strait of Hormuz, and Gulf of Oman, citing potential military escalation that could affect shipping. The U.S. Embassy in Iraq is now preparing for an ordered evacuation due to security threats. The State Department is pulling non-essential staff and families from Bahrain and Kuwait. U.S. military dependents in Bahrain have been cleared for temporary departure. Open Source Intel is a credible account on Twitter. It notes that the orders for evacuation have not come from military command, which means they've had to have come from the White House. These are confirmed now by the Associated Press. The president is at this moment saying he does not believe that we will get a deal with Iran. The Prime Minister of Israel is apparently having a call with the President of the United States. We have humored Iran for too long. We've humored Iran for too long. The Obama administration was so arrogant they thought they could rethink. And see, this is the problem. See, the Obama administration, they're a group of Jew-hating atheists. And they decided they could think things differently. And because the arrogant people in the Obama administration decided that they don't believe in God, and belief in God is a wacky thing, surely the rational leaders of Iran, they say it in public, because Barack Obama gave lip service to God in public because, those bitter clingers clinging to their Bibles and their guns, they believed it, and so he had to talk the talk even if he didn't believe it. Clearly, the Iranian leaders, they don't believe it either. They're elite, they're rational, they're wealthy, they're educated, they're sophisticated in their own way. Clearly, they don't believe in it, and so Barack Obama decided he could rethink the deal. And he can't rethink the deal because they actually believe it. This is going to put some of you off, I know. I actually believe Scripture is the inerrant Word of God. I do. So when the Bible tells me there was a guy named Noah and he built a big ark and he preserved the world in this ark, I actually believe it. When Scripture tells me that there was an Adam and there was an Eve and they were real people, I believe it. When Scripture tells me that God condescended to become man and grew up in perfect life and was crucified on a cross and was killed and 3 days later rose again from the dead, I believe it's true. Isaac Newton believed it was true. Francis Drake believed it was true. The man who came up with the theory of the Big Bang was a Catholic priest, an astronomer, and a physicist, and people like Albert Einstein dismissed him and said, "Oh, you're just trying to justify let there be light in Scripture. That's what you're trying to do. I don't believe it's true." Albert Einstein dismissed the Big Bang theory, which is now widely accepted as true. Some of the greatest scientific minds in history actually were people who believed in the resurrection of Christ. And now, on college campuses and among Western elite and guys like Barack Obama, that's just a silly, quaint notion of a bygone era. And the progressive elite have embraced a secularism that is hostile not just to foundational Western traditional beliefs, but to every belief that isn't like their own. 3 billion people on planet Earth believe in the resurrection of Christ, and the progressive elite believe those 3 billion people are bigots and wrong, small-minded fools, able to be controlled by mythology. So they don't have a real way to approach the world. And this, by the way, is why secular progressivism always fails, because secular progressivism does not have a clear understanding of humanity. Without a concept of sin, you can't understand. You structure society in certain ways, it's not going to work because people are flawed. People are not inherently good. We like to talk about the inherent goodness of mankind. At a civil level, yes, but at a soulful level, no. The founders understood this. This is how they could structure the country, with the competition of egos of men, because the founders understood, for all of their flaws, they understood men are flawed, men are vain, men are petty, men are sinners. The Obama administration and then the Biden administration decided they could think of a deal with Iran. They could come up with one with Iran because the Iranians at the elite level were the same, with the same values and the same thoughts and the same beliefs, and they're wrong. And there are some in the Trump administration who have been whispering within the ears of the president that he should do like Obama and Biden and cut a deal because they're actually rational actors. Well, they're rational, but in their own way. And it's a way not compatible with Westernism. And the result of the delays has been to allow the Iranian situation to fester. And it is beginning, it appears, to come to a head today. As we were evacuating our embassy, in Baghdad and telling American personnel in Kuwait and Bahrain if they're not essential, they should probably leave the country. That happening here towards the end of the show today. Now, I need to tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm before I get out of here. It's an air purifier. It wipes out dirt and pollen and smoke and pet dander. It eliminates 99.9% of bacteria and viruses that flow through it, and then it eliminates all odors. Every odor gets eliminated. Your wet dog odor, your litter box odor, your cat peed on the couch odor, your fried chicken or shrimp in the kitchen odor, you name it. You can get 3 of them. You can save $200. You go to EdenPureDeals.com and you put in the discount code ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com. You get 3 of them. So you get one for your upstairs, your downstairs, your basement. You can put one in your travel bag. I'm in a hotel tonight. I got a travel bag. I have one in my travel bag. I can hold it in my hand, plug it up with a USB cord if I need to, even with my computer, and power it, or plug it to the wall. Thankfully, nice hotel, not going to have to use it. But you can put one in your travel bag, put one in your RV, wherever you need them. They eliminate all odors. And they get rid of 99.9% of bacteria and viruses. You got someone who's sick in the house, run it, wipe out the odors, wipe out the bacteria, wipe out the germs. EdenPureDeals.com is the website. The discount code is ERIC3. Get 3 of them, save $200.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
251 Cool-Ray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Temporary red alert downtown. All lanes are shut down right now. 7585 northbound, Freedom Parkway exit 248. Trying to get this widely scattered crash off to the right. It has cooked the ride all the way back to Highway 166, Langford Parkway. Use Highway 29 and Metropolitan Parkway. Both of those will take you northbound toward I-20, where it'll change over to Northside Drive to get you around it. Traffic brought to you by Callaway Resort and Gardens. Celebrate summer at Callaway Resort and Gardens with their 2-day July 4th Star Spangled Banner Beach Party. Book your stay for fireworks, live music, and more at CallawayGardens.com. That's CallawayGardens.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Hey, Thursday starting at 5 on Atlanta's Morning News. Overnight developments in the protest story from Metro Atlanta, from the White House, and around the country on 95.5 WSB.
Passion. It's the difference between getting it done and being exceptional. For your home's exterior renovation, hire a company passionate about your project. Trust the Plus. Painting Plus.
Hi, I'm Charlie. My passion for high-quality remodeling began when I started my business at just 15. Now we have grown to the Plus family of businesses. If you hear the Plus, it's us.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
When markets get rocky, the worst thing you can do is nothing. Hi, I'm David Nicholas, president and founder of Nicholas Wealth Management. Times like these demand action and a plan you can trust. That's why we rely on our trademark Retire Ready Bucket strategy. This strategy is designed to place a percentage of your portfolio into lower risk, income producing income bucket, aiming to generate steady cash flow for the first 10 to 15 years of retirement. Meanwhile, your growth bucket is filled with dividend and growth stocks, which has time to recover when markets are going crazy. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com to schedule a time to sit down with our team to review your plan. This strategy was crafted by experience. It's battle tested, and it's how you aim to keep your retirement on track even when the markets are not. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. At Nicholas Wealth Management, we're prepared. Are you? Don't wait for the next headline to shake your confidence. Call Nicholas Wealth today, 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. Nicholas Wealth Management. Retire ready.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Neither the information nor any opinion expressed is to be construed as solicitation to buy or sell a security or personalized investment, tax, or legal advice.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 50 and tired of your wireless bill getting higher and higher, there are 4 things to consider. 1, how much data are you really using? As we get older, we use less data on our wireless phone, but you're probably still paying for an unlimited plan that was designed for 20-somethings. 2, if you see Get a Phone on Us, Get your sneakers out and run the other way. No one is giving you a free phone. You are paying for that phone over time with an overpriced rate plan and a long-term commitment. 3, check the fine print on that $15 a month plan. It's probably an intro price that'll double or triple later. You might even have to pay for several months of service up front. Number 4, be aware of cable company wireless plans. Most of your usage will be on Wi-Fi instead of 5G, and your calls and battery life could suffer. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide service without the big wireless bill. Our plans start at just $20 a month.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Giving you the truth, not the talking points. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Hello, it is Eric Erickson. Delighted to have you. I feel like I should cover this story because it is news, and I do not just conservative talk, but news. But also, I don't really care about the story. So, way to set that up. I am a professional. Harvey Weinstein has been convicted of one of 2 charges in his sex crimes retrial, but jurors have been unable to reach a verdict on a rape allegation. This is from the New York Post. The shocking moment followed several dramatic days of deliberations marked by infighting among jurors, including hours before the partial verdict was announced when the foreman claimed to have been threatened by another member of the panel. The judge hauled the jurors into the courtroom and had been ready to send them home for the day when they released. They'd reached a verdict on 2 of the 3 charges. Jurors convicted Weinstein of criminal sex act in the first degree for allegedly assaulting Miriam Haley, a former TV production assistant. In 2006, he faces 25 years of prison. They acquitted him of criminal sex act in the first degree, tied to claims from a former model, Kaja Sokola, who testified Weinstein forcibly performed an indecent act on her at a hotel in 2006 before her 20th birthday. The jurors were ordered to keep deliberating Thursday on the count of third-degree rape tied to allegations by actress Jessica Mann. Okay. Dude is pervy and at this point ancient of days, and it's just another reminder of how gross and decadent Hollywood is, that so many people covered up for him. You know, there were, multiple TV series, Entourage comes to mind, and others that had a character that supposedly depicted the guy. And everyone in Hollywood, because of his power, they let him slide. And I still think the funniest thing ever was that when these charges first came out of the Me Too era, what Harvey Weinstein did is announce, I'm stepping back from my company and I'm going to go lead the fight against gun control in the NRA. And he really thought, playing the old Hollywood script, that that would be something that could protect him. Oh, we have to have Harvey in the fight against guns. I found that hilarious. That was how he decided to spin it, was, you need me to fight against guns in the country. And a lot of people are like, oh, we do need Harvey. No, they never did. All right, keep your eye out. This international news, the U.S. Embassy in Iraq drawing down people, American citizens in Kuwait and Bahrain, being told to be careful. Things are shaping up over there. This news will play out over the next 24 hours. Bring you all the updates tomorrow across the nation. I'm Eric Erickson. It has been my pleasure being with you today.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
If you don't fly that often, but you're flying this summer, you need to know the airlines are excelling at something. Losing your bag more than they used to. And I don't check a bag, but if it's your thing and you want to check a bag, think of the insult to injury. The airline charges you a huge fee to check that bag, and then it doesn't make the trip with you. But there's something you